Hello everyone, and welcome back to Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten, the show where 5 DMs take on D&D's top Gothakara campaign. As always, I am Dragnacarta, your host and DM, and it has been a hell of a ride to get here, but I think we've just about finally arrived. What would you all say?
Do we have to?
Yeah, let's just take a few more short rests.
I feel like we could probably stretch this for another 15 sessions if we really wanted to.
I mean, we know how to. Look at House of Death House.
Yeah, if we all stay in one room.
We haven't visited the swamp yet.
You're right. We gotta see.
We want
Baba.
to go to the windmill too.
Yeah, let's go to the brazier. Let's get out of here.
Also the werewolf den. Don't forget the werewolf den.
I'd like to forget the werewolf den.
Yes. No, we should go there.
Are you just checking off your the list of errands that you haven't done yet, just to get an excuse to get out of taking a math test or something?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Metron is really into seeing the child fighting pit in the werewolf den. He's got $5 on that one.
Yeah, let's go.
What is it? A tourist attraction?
Yeah.
You know that the moment we end this campaign, everybody's going to be like, which episode did they go to the werewolf den? I want to see how Dragna does the Babalai Saga voice.
I'm tempted to just say, all right, fine, I'll do all my narration in Babalai Saga voice, but...
Please do.
Please.
No, there's only one voice that you need to bring back now that we're at the end. There's only one.
Swahaden.
Yes.
Swahaden is the only voice that should come back.
I actually forget what Swahaden sounds like.
It's
how dare you?
You know what it is deep down.
Beautifully, incredibly obnoxious.
Fantastic. Well, I can promise that, unfortunately, Swahaden will likely not make an appearance this episode. Nor will Babalai Saga, nor will the late 1990s, early 2000s hit All-Star. But what I can promise is that there may or may not be at least one vampire. So, compromise.
Ooh.
Well, I'd hope so, because we killed everyone else!
God. Alright, well, I think we're ready to get settled in, or at least dive in as best we can. So, thank you all for coming by. Thank you for sticking with us. And let's get started with Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten. And welcome back, everyone. So, last we left off on Twice Bitten. Making their way into the ancient castle, Castle Ravenloft, our companions and unlikely but now determined heroes set about exploring the catacombs, looting them for magic items and other unique entities of note, among them Strahd's own coffin, which Kiva led the battle to destroy, as well as a trio of vampiric brides that had dwelled beneath. After attaining ancient knowledge from a Dybbuk that had possessed Rahaden's body, the companions obtained new knowledge of the traps, magic, and layout of the castle that lay above and around them. After a brief encounter with Patrina's banshee form that left Casimir unconscious and bound in a crypt behind them, the heroes continued onward, now one down, their hearts sorrowed and somber by the tinge of betrayal. but regrouped nonetheless, and set forth ascending through the castle, traversing a trapped chute, sacrificing a ladder and a beloved rowboat in the process. After ignoring an offer of wine from an unseen servant, the party discovered an enchanted brazier that appeared capable of teleportation, though exactly where, they knew not too. They kept it on the back burner for now, however, continuing onward and upward, though removing some of the stones that appeared to activate it, and after encountering a trio of enthusiastic Barovian villagers set on killing Strahd and removing the vampiric threat from their homeland, the party managed to convince the three to remain behind, while the companions themselves continued upward toward Strahd's treasury. Passing beyond a ludicrous number of secret hidden doors and thankfully managing to evade any contact with giant spiders that may or may not have lurked in the castle's belfry, our heroes recovered a treasure trove of artifacts, among them a valuable Helm of Brilliance and a source of infinite mayonnaise. Together, they decided to use the power of these items and travel ascending to the tower in which Strahd's Heart of Sorrow dwelled, in which they could destroy it and weaken him before their final encounter. The heart itself and the animated swords that guarded it were dispatched easily, as well as the reinforcements of vampires that came after them. Now, our heroes find themselves pausing for a moment in the now darkened tower where the Heart of Sorrow once dwelled, preparing themselves to continue onward through Strahd's ancient keep. Behind you, across the way, you can faintly see the door leading back into the passageway that led into Strahd's study and the hidden treasuries beyond. Far, far below, you can see the spiral stairs descending down toward a staircase at the base of this tall, mighty tower. The stairs continue to stretch above you, vanishing soon thereafter upon reaching the landing the heart itself once dwelled. The floor of the tower is almost reflective, glittering like dark crimson blood from far, far below. But for now, save for the dripping of rainwater and the crackle of thunder outside the walls of this now silent tower, you will find yourselves quite alone.
Metreon looks over at Randy. Oi.
What is it?
You still don't know the prestidigitation thing, right?
Unfortunately not.
And Metreon just looks down at himself, still in Sergei guise, but just drenched in blood.
Oh shit! Here, I already ruined this cloak. As he throws the cloak that he used to let Amity dry off the blood that was puked over her a few episodes ago to give to Metreon.
Amity shouts telepathically, They know where we are! We've got to move! She's looking across the yawning parapets for movements in the courtyard or in other parts of the castle.
All right, Linus, perception check.
That is a 6, clouded out.
Okay. Looking around, there's not over much to see. You can see the slightly shifting shadows in the darkened corridors that you haven't quite explored. You can see the clouds swirling overhead in the distance across the walls and parapets of the keep. But on the whole, there seems to be nothing here for the moment.
Where do we go now?
They got away. They gotta be going to get Strahd. Which means we gotta go do this.
I think we should just cut them off before they get there.
Damn right. Chapel, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Then
We're really ready to do this.
I'm not gonna be more ready, I'll put it that way.
If we don't do this now, it gives him time to regroup.
Mm-hmm.
It's now or never.
Yeah, you're right. No.
Kiva goes over and squeezes Metrion's shoulder, just encouragingly.
You see that he's got like a little bit of a glassiness to his eyes right now. The eyes that are now kind of like that dark blue color that Sergei has. And there's a moment where his eyes flash back to his golden tiefling eyes, and you can kind of see more of that glassy tearfulness kind of starting to well up.
Kiva just presses her shoulder or forehead into his like bloodied still shoulder and just whispers, "You can do this."
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're right here with you. And with that, she's gonna take the sunsword and I guess follow whoever is leading the way back to the chapel.
Amity will dog-ear the Dimension Door page of her spellbook and cast a few healing spells on herself, because good lord, she needs it. And also delve on the spirit table as we go towards the chapel.
Okay, so
Actually,
are you looking to take a particular route? You can look at your notes. Yes, what's that, Metrion?
Well, if Amity's okay with it, as Metrion sees her kind of flipping through her book and readying to cast those healing spells, Oi, I don't want you to use up all your resources, so maybe this will help. And he puts his hands.
Wait, if you're gonna like cast an actual spell, you only have 2 of those, right?
No, it's not a spell. It's
Oh.
It's just a gift. And how bad are you hurt?
Like 5 out of 10.
Okay. He will give you some healing then. You get 10 points of healing. I don't know if that does anything, but
That does do something.
Nice. Also, did you remember to take that out of your temp HP? Or sorry, I know I've like the temp HP from.
I have temp HP, but I also have some missing actual HP.
No, that's fair. I'm sorry, I just misunderstood.
Okay, great. Thanks. If things start to go really south, then maybe us two, we can just get out. I don't think that's gonna happen. No, I mean, I can only take... Amity looks at Earthrendeer. You know what, I hope I won't have to teleport away and choose one person to bring with me. Anyway, let's
I've
go.
got a haste spell. If you're taking anyone, take Metreon.
Amity bites her lips. It's not going to work out that way anyway.
Right, but if it does, save who you can, and I'll meet you on the other side.
what's Lillison like right now?
Lillison is basically just standing and staring off into the rain.
You with us, right?
Yes, of course.
And you see that there's this like scrutinizing, doubting look in Metrion's eyes as he's looking at you, looking up at the rain.
Lillison does not seem to notice. Her attention appears to be almost completely elsewhere, actually.
I don't want to swing you around. I know you don't like to be touched, but I need to see your eyes. I need to see that you're a part of this.
If you must. And she turns to look fully at you, and you can see that she is maybe starting to cry.
All right. Yeah. Me too.
Where are we going now?
Kiva, you said the chapel, right?
Yeah, that's where Madame Eva said he would be, so I think that's where we need to go.
How are the NPCs feeling?
Regarding health-wise or regarding the chapel?
Health-wise, but also just, we're about to fucking face our imminent doom.
All good. They're all looking pretty peachy keen, health-wise. Haven't really taken much damage since the last skirmish. Davian is looking a little bit paranoid, similar to Amity. He's just still keeping an eye out, occasionally peeking out to the parapets and wincing a little bit when the lightning flashes. Esmeralda is just waiting patiently, occasionally hands twitching toward her rapier. Irina is waiting quietly but looking determined, and Ismark is just looking thoughtful. Esmeralda coughs and says, Bitten, I suppose we're as ready as we'll ever be. We have that map that the demons do, yes? What's the fastest way down?
What is the fastest way down, dear?
I'm glad you asked. The fastest way down to the chapel from here, or at least the most direct route, would be passing back into the study, passing through what's marked dining hall, descending 2 flights of stairs to the first floor, passing through the main entry, passing through another hallway, and coming out into the chapel on the other side. This is not a welcoming designed castle.
Wait.
I'm very glad that you answered fastest, safe way down.
I didn't say anything about that.
Well, I was kind of expecting, go outside, drop down from where you are onto the tower down to the main courtyard and...
Oh, that's technically true.
Aerith looks thoughtful. We can just do that.
Do what?
Just drop. I've got Featherfall. We can just head down and head in the front door.
Didn't they say that, certain death would meet us in the courtyard if we went back there?
No, it was if we went back into the entrance chamber from inside the castle, I think.
I mean, spare the spell slot, I'd say go for it, but if not, we can just walk. We've handled everything else decently well so far.
Aerith looks at his, sort of assesses remaining resources and grimaces. Then let's walk. I'm tapped out.
Davian raises a hand. Don't you still have a fucking... the little metal thing you put on the rope?
Grappling? God damn it, how do I keep forgetting I have that? Yes, I do. Alright, that's sensible. That's... alright. Give me a moment, as Aerith heads out into the pouring rain and begins tying off one end of the rope on a parapet.
Thank the fucking morning, Lord, you actually had that. Otherwise, you'd spared me the indignity of having to escort you down one by one.
You should be so lucky to have to escort us down one by one. We're sort of special,
Yeah.
Powerful vampire
wings are
killers.
arthritic, lass. It ain't easy, Kills my back.
Kiva just gives him a nice smile.
Alright, rope's tied. Just climb careful. It's real slippery.
Davian nods. If you like, I wouldn't mind staying up here to dislodge it if you want to bring it back with you.
That'd be obliged.
Sure.
Actually, it might be... No, keep it. It might be nice to have a route back up here if things go sour.
Right, as you wish.
We don't want you hurting your back, lifting a heavy grappling hook all by yourself.
Poor old man can't hurt your arthritic wings.
Davian snorts, but then pauses and gives the two of you a not quite mournful, not quite affectionate look, but close enough.
Oh.
He says, "You bloody idiots, be careful down there, alright?"
Kiva does that hug that a son who's sort of estranged from his father will do, where it's just the hard pat on the back, yeah, okay, this is
Yeah, right.
as emotional as we'll get.
Good. Wait, well, you're gonna wait till after the rope fucking rots away in the storm? Come on!
Kiva will dramatically Lara Croft her way down the rope to the courtyard below.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Metron's gonna use the cloak that Air Thunder gave him to kind of like pad his hands and then just slide down.
Sure. So, actually, if possible, as the others make their way down, Ismark will tap Metron's shoulder and just kind of put a hand there.
Yeah.
Before we go down, this is not exactly the best place, but do you have a quick minute?
Yeah. And when he says that, the Sergei disguise kind of flakes away. He's still bloody as all hell, but the disguise at least withers.
Right. Well, this is admittedly a bit not the best place, but obviously these past weeks have been a harrowing experience for us all. For me, it's been Irina watching every shadow for Zarovich to appear, and as for you, you've gone through a lot on your own. I would not presume to qualify. But, well, he licks his lips. I have been training for this moment for a long, long time, but after seeing what you all did in there and seeing what we've managed to attain and achieve, I think I'm actually starting to think we might have a chance to win. Is that mad of me? Is that insane?
No, it's not insane. No, I mean, some of us are more capable than others, but yeah.
Right, good. With that said, the possibility of winning means that there might be a day after today. And, well, I know that I am not the most unobservant person, but I do notice some things, and, well, I thought I might ask if we make it to tomorrow.
Metron
would like
just
to get-
reaches up and puts his hands on Ismark's cheeks, the upper cheeks, not the lower ones. Just kind of looks him in the eyes very sincerely, and he doesn't say anything. Just kind of like rubs the area under his eye a little bit with his thumb. Can I?
Ismark pauses, swallows, and says, smiling very shakily, as much as I would like to. Once the vampire is dead, then absolutely. But if you don't mind, perhaps it will be a motivating force for me, yes?
Yeah, it will be. And kind of pats him on the cheek a bit, like playfully, smiles, and goes towards the edge of the cliff, or the edge of the steps where the grappling hook is, and looks back at him again, just one final time, and smiles, and puts back on his Syria disguise and slips down the rope.
Ismark watches him go, and it's for that reason, as Metron slides down the rope, that he does not see Irina come up and affectionately bonk her brother on the back of the head before making her way down the rope alongside him. And so, the group of you descend your way into the courtyard, and arriving here, judging on where you are, just triangulating very briefly, I believe you find yourselves at the front portion of the keep courtyards. I should have that right around here. You descend the rope, setting yourselves down into the courtyard proper of the castle. From here, you can see that a massive wall juts out to connect the outer walls of the castle with the keep. A 20-foot wide, 20-foot tall archway offering passage through the connecting wall, blocked by a rusting iron portcullis. Off toward the southern side of the courtyard, you can see another wing of the space leading around the opposite side of the keep, as well as the main entrance of the castle, should you like to approach it. On the far side, you can see the main exit, or entrance from which you came, the drawbridge leading out to the castle space. You remember this space as the one that you first entered upon entering the castle, but now there's an atmosphere of tension, of readiness, as you prepare to set forth through the doors that you once ignored. Will you proceed forward?
Yep.
Very good. Passing into the front center of the courtyard, the thick, cold fog swirling around you, you can see the sporadic flashes of lightning lancing the weeping clouds overhead as the thunder shakes the ground. And then you can see, once more, greeting you warmly, the torch flames fluttering on each side of the keep's main doors. But now they don't seem cheery, they seem mocking. Enter, they say. Come forth. Lay yourselves in your graves. Above the entrance, you can see the round, broken window, the shards of broken glass, and within, the warm light spilling out from the entrance. You step forward and pass through the main doors of Castle Ravenloft. Beyond the ornate outer doors of the castle, you see a second set of doors approaching you. Overhead in the vaulted entry foyer, you can see 4 statues of dragons glaring down, their eyes flickering in the torchlight, a shiver running down your spines at the sight. And as you approach, the doors in front of you suddenly swing open, revealing a grand hall filled with the sound of organ music. Cobwebs stretched between the columns that support the vaulted ceiling of a great, dusty hall, dimly lit by sputtering torches and iron sconces. The torches cast odd shadows across the faces of 8 stone gargoyles, squatting motionlessly on the rim of the domed ceiling. Cracked and faded ceiling frescoes are covered by decay. Double doors of bronze stand closed to the east, and to the north, a wide staircase climbs into darkness. A lit hallway to the south contains another set of bronze doors through which you hear sad and majestic organ tones. According to the map, the route to the chapel leads straight ahead.
On we march.
Yep.
Let's go.
And onward you shall march. Opening the doors to the next chamber, you find a grand hall choked with dust that stretches into the darkness ahead. Webs hang from the arched ceiling like drapes, and life-size statues of knights line the hallway on both sides, their eyes seeming to watch you. At the very end, above the doors leading forward, you can see a symbol of beaten bronze that resembles a rising, or perhaps a setting, sun. The doors stand closed, the organ music raging against the backdrop of the storm outside as the music and the rain slowly fade. According to your map, the chapel lies just beyond these doors.
Aerith looks back at the others, swallows. Are y'all ready? Because I'm sure as fuck not.
Fuck no. I'm not.
Can we prepare an action? Or is that too much to ask?
I'm afraid you cannot prepare any actions until we roll initiative, if we roll initiative.
Understood.
But if you'd like to
Kiva's...
preemptively cast some sort of spell, you may do so.
No, Kiva's just going to hold the holy symbol in one hand and the sun sword in the other, making sure that it's like full Jedi lightsaber action, and stand like close to the door, ready to just kick it in.
Lillison looks back over her shoulder and she says, What was it that we were told about the dangers of trying to come back this way?
Statues, I think. So we'll have to find another way out, presuming we don't kill him in there.
Well, presuming that we do, we will still need to find a way out.
Then we'll break a window.
Amity holds up the gilded, in gemstoned skull and says, "You who wish to be free, join us in battle." Casting Summon Undead.
Nice.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Which form are you choosing for it to take?
Obviously, ghostly.
Very good. Ghostly undead. And with that, a ethereal golden mist begins to rise from the earth, forming up from the tile stone of Ravenloft itself, until you see a strangely luminescent figure clad in golden brown gray smokes, eyes blinded as if by a strip of cloth around them, a pair of wings upon either side that appear almost like threads rather than feathered, and in one hand a blade that glints with darkened sunlight.
You got us a fallen angel. Kind of appropriate. Thanks, darling.
Amity's starting to tear up a little bit and just tries to, I don't know, she just holds Earthrendir very hard. I'm practicing my grappling. Just kicking the door.
Aerith hugs her back. Well, I have no intention of getting out of this one. As he could. I love you. And he's going to give her a die of Bardic Inspiration.
Aww.
Oh,
Whenever we're ready.
oh, let's fucking go. All right. Should Kiva just smash in that fucking door?
What's our marching order?
Yeah, that's good to decide. Kiva's in front.
Earthrendir's behind.
Amity next.
Lilson's near the back, but closer to the middle than the back.
Yeah, Metron will be behind her, but with, like, Irina and Ismark. Well, unless Ismark is towards the front, too, because he's a frontline kind of guy.
Well, should we have Sergei bust in with the sun sword by the side?
I mean, if we really want to fuck with him, I'm totally down.
Listen, I think there's no better way to start this off than to have Sergei bust through some fucking chapel doors.
Let's do it.
So marching order is then me, Metron, Kiva,
Earthrendir, Amity.
Earthrendir. Do we want Esmeralda up close to the front, though?
I think at this point we'll have enough time to reorient that it doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
All right. So, making way for Sergei, Kiva is going to, with all of her strength, kick the doors to the chapel open.
You kick the doors open. They crash and splinter, revealing the space beyond as they fling wide, and the organ music immediately stops. In the room beyond, dim colored light filters through tall, broken, boarded up windows of stained glass, illuminating the ancient chapel of Ravenloft. A few bats flutter about near the top of the 90-foot high domed ceiling. A balcony running the length of the west wall 50 feet above the floor. In the center of the balcony, 2 dark shapes are slumped in tall chairs. Benches coated with centuries of dust lie about the floor in jumbled disarray, and beyond this debris, lit by a piercing shaft of light, an altar stands upon a stone platform. The sides of the altar are carved with bas-reliefs of angelic figures entwined with grapevines, the light from above falling directly upon a silver statuette. A cloaked figure is draped over the altar, and a black mace lies on the floor near its feet. There's a crackle of thunder. Do you enter the chamber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You step inside, the debris crunching under your feet, the pews sitting silently, faintly illuminated by the flickering, blazing sunlight of the sun sword. You can hear your every breath. You can hear the beads of sweat that drip down your foreheads as your tortured breaths come one after the other. And then another flash of light from the lightning outside booms with the trembles of thunder. And in that moment, on the south side of the hall, you see a dark shape from the vast chamber step forward. You instantly recognize, illuminated very faintly by the lightning and then by the grayscale of your dark vision, as it may be the flickering of the sunlight away from which he stands. The pale flesh, the crimson eyes, the widow's peak running elegantly, dark hair above his scalp. You can see from here the blood-red ruby at his throat, the dark cloak that he bears, and the fangs that poke ever so faintly over his lip, just beyond the flickering light of the sun sword.
Metreon steps up with Kiva at one side and Earthendir at the other. He just looks up at him with a smile. Surprise, bitch.
Good evening,
Incredible.
Strahd says, chuckling softly. It seems that our uninvited guests have made their way to where they shouldn't be found at last.
I'm pretty sure you invited us, actually.
The rules of guest right, as I recall them, do not include the slaughter of one's hosts, servants, the defacement and debasement of the property in which the invitation lies, but no matter. It pleases me to see you here, and, well, it's been quite a path, has it not?
If you're looking for some sort of sympathy or some sort of understanding, you can look somewhere the fuck else.
Oh no, I assure you, the only understanding I need, I already have. Though, I must confess there is one point of order that had befuddled me before your friend opened his mouth. You had seemed to have misplaced 2 of your companions, acquiring a third, but I hear now that one of them is well in hand. As for the third, the other that you had lost, I cannot help but wonder, what became of that pathetic excuse for an elf you carried behind you?
He's waiting down below to eat your scraps, I suppose.
Is he now? I was under the impression that dusk elves had little appetite for anything these days. Perhaps I'll go find his corpse or whatever has been left of him down below.
You'll have to get past us first, though, won't you?
My dear, that spark of defiance in your voice is a delicacy, I assure you, but I've seen the look in your eyes many times before. But I have filled my graveyards with fools such as you. He nods briefly toward the corpse on the altar. Outsiders, invaders, playthings. All you need to know is this. On the day you passed beneath my gaze, the mists fell about you like a funeral shroud, and in that moment, Barovia became your tomb. For all your defiance, you are correct about one thing. I am, indeed, the late Strahd von Zarovich. But fear not, for soon you will be late as well.
I think we're right on time.
Yeah, and do you mind then if I take your coffin room downstairs? Because it's actually empty now, so if you're going to just store bodies, I might as well take your room, right?
You and your friends take quite the glee in testing patience. But let me tell you this, if you are trying to impress or anger me, and you see one fang and a cold glint in his eye poking through, you have failed. But if you've come to insult me, then please accept my congratulations, for you have succeeded admirably.
No.
Yeah, Kiva looks around the others and is like, I think that deserves us a round of applause then, doesn't it?
We're here to kill you. The rest is ancillary.
Has he seemed to react at all to Sergei, or is he just taking that in stride as well?
Make an insight check.
Ooh.
Can multiple people
Maybe
do that?
two.
Because I'm so curious.
By all means.
7. That's gotta beat Strahd's deception.
17!
21.
17!
All right, so Amity does not notice much, but Kiva and Lillison, you notice that every so often, every few words, Strahd's gaze flickers toward Metreon, and his expression becomes one of just barely disguised, cold, disgusted hate.
Are you okay there, love? You look a little uncomfortable.
Please, uncomfortable. He spreads his arms wide and barks a laugh. You come here in my home and seek to kill me and call me uncomfortable. My dear, I've danced this song for centuries. But you talk a big game. You say you wish to kill me, but there you stand, feet rooted to the ground. Do you sob? Do you tremble? Are your compatriots truly the brave heroes they believe themselves to be? Or do they know that deep down they are what they always were when they first arrived in these lands? Cowards, thieves, traitors, poxes. For a monster cannot slay the dragon. And he eyes Lillison meaningfully with a smirk.
Over the group chat, Lillison is going to say softly, "We didn't come here to gloat. I don't know whether he already knows from what we said that we've destroyed his coffin, but let's not make it any clearer." And Lillison is actually, as she's saying this, she is going to start walking forward towards Strahd with her head bowed respectfully.
Metreon
In the
eyes-
group
his eyes
chat.
narrow, just following
Oh, yeah.
her.
In the group chat, Kiva's just going to private message Lillison, actually, not in the group chat, and just say, I can hold him there when you get close enough, or at least I can try. Just be careful, she says with all of the trust in her heart, hoping that this isn't about to be a betrayal.
Strahd watches you curiously, Lillison. He's quirked an eyebrow, but is not moving to stop you from moving forward.
Not meeting his gaze, Lillison is going to approach to about within 10 feet of him, and then she is going to sink down on one knee.
Interesting. And what is this? I will say this. It is good to know that at least one of these companions has sense. Lillison, my dear, I must say, your insights are as always appreciated. What advice would you lend your compatriots in this, their finest crowning moment?
She bends her head a little bit more and then raises it, almost meeting his eyes, but catching herself at the last moment, and just says, "You are absolutely correct, my lord. You have done this for a very long time. We cannot hope to follow this foolish notion of defeating you in some glorious blaze of heroism and foolishness.
Wise words. It seems that you could not have traveled this way to make homage on that basis alone. Would you advise your companions to do the same? Would you advise them to heed the wisdom of those that know their betters?
In the group chat, Lillison says, "I advise you all to get into position."
Kiva just smirks and sort of taps into that blind sight, lowers the bridal veil, and sort of swings the sun sword in her hand.
Earthrendir pulls his wand from his holster, twirls it a few times, and then takes Rahadin's scimitar in his left hand.
Metreon, oh, go on, Amity.
Amity holds hands with her ghost and walks forward, trembling, to flank on the right.
Metreon has a moment of relief. His body relaxes a bit when he hears Lillison in his head say that. And his hands begin to light up and twitch with this pale golden energy and anticipation.
Strahd's eyebrows raise, and he sees the lot of you moving, assembling, preparing. Alas, I fear your compatriots may not share your sense. But never mind. He raises his voice, allowing it to boom through the chapel. Let it be known that I have the utmost mercy and compassion for those who are able to recognize where loyalty is properly lain. Lillison, rise, and let's see if you can do what you came here for. And he tilts his head, inquisitively, grinning down toward you.
Lillison rises. She reaches into her pouch for something, and she pulls out a small scroll. And opening it, she says, "Yes, let's see if I can." And I know that this does not work the way initiative works in 5e, but I would like to cast Cone of Cold off that scroll at Strahd.
I will allow you to begin casting it, and you can change your mind on your turn if you would like. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair.
Very well. In that case, the group of you watch as swirling crystals of frost and snow begin to swirl through the air around Lillison, her lips turning slightly blue as the temperature drops. And in that moment, Strahd's eyes widen almost imperceptibly, and his figure blurs his claws slicing through the air directly toward her. I'll need everyone to roll initiative, please. As I move you all to the battle map. Please organize yourselves as needed. And then let's get some initiative rolled.
Can we say that, I was able to bluff Strahd into letting them, like, array themselves closer?
Yes, but I will say that Kiva cannot be that close, because if she were close enough for the sunlight to touch him, he would have attacked long before this.
Okay, is that far back enough? Sorry, I didn't know position-wise.
What's the current radius of the sun sword?
Full power.
Then yes, I'm afraid you can't be that close.
Just tell me when.
Here.
Can you put a radius on her? Like, just so that there's a visual?
Sure, I can do that. It's 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, 60 feet it is. As soon as I can find proper thing. Here we go. Alrighty. So I think we just need Lilith to roll initiative, and then we'll be good to go.
Have I not?
Not on the
Just
tracker.
need you on the tracker. Thank you very much.
Alright, well that's a 7, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a 6 for Metrio. So.
Oh, in that case, Earthrendeer is going to do something fun. He's going to cutting word Strahd's initiative.
Intriguing.
Yes. Strahd now has a -1.
Fantastic.
Eat shit! Earthrendeer already coming out first in the goat race here?
Not today, you miserable piece of shit.
Alrighty then. In that case, Earthrendeer, you're up first.
All
Take
right.
it away.
Aerth rushes forward, feet a blur of speed as he runs up besides Lillison, vaulting over one of the pews in a roll. And when he comes up from the roll, he's holding a scroll of his own, which, as he holds, begins to crackle with black fire. Actually, no, he can't do that without murdering Lillison too. Never mind.
Do it!
No!
Oh, come on!
Look. Fuck. He'll do this. And in that case, he raises his wand.
I will say that if you're looking to cast a fireball, there is a hole in the shards of glass in the window on the opposite side, behind where Strahd is standing. You could place the point of origin in the courtyard.
Oh, yes, then that. Absolutely that.
All right. You did want to blow in the windows of the chapel.
Yep, and I'm doing it. Fire.
All right.
Woo!
As Twy, you thrust a finger forward, a bead of crackling black-red flame, flickering, whistling through the air. Strahd easily ducks it, a smirk across his face. Did you really think? And then it whizzes through the open, broken glass in the window behind him, and an inferno of swirling black flame bursts through with percussive force, shattering the glass, destroying, splintering, and devouring in burning, swirling cinders every plank that had lain across the boarded window, and thrusting forward, smashing across Strahd with a percussive impact of actual heated air. I will need a damage roll, and a dex save from Strahd.
34 fire damage.
Strahd fails by 1.
Eat shit! Oh my god,
Will
this is
he
delicious.
use a...
Probably not. And then he looks over at Lillison. Kill him! And gives her his last die of Bardic Inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
For sure.
All right. A brief question for Earthrendeer. Are you making eye contact with Strahd?
No.
All right, very good. With that, as a note to everyone, just please let me know if you are or not looking at Strahd. If you're not, you will suffer the blinded condition with respect to him on your turn. All right, so Earthrendeer, is that your turn?
It is.
Davian is up. Not making eye contact with Strahd, he's going to dive across the way, line up a shot with his crossbow, and take the shot. 17, hitting, dealing 7 damage, halved to 3. He'll step up here to the altar. Alright. As soon as his turn is over, Strahd will... What is Strahd going to do? He is going to use a legendary action to move... Oh, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's very tempting. But actually, you know what? I don't think he will.
Do it.
He's going to stay where he is. Esmeralda's is up.
Really?
Yep.
Intriguing.
Esmeralda's going to fire off a firebolt at him. 15 missing. Strahd ducks, evading it as it sizzles through the air through the now gaging open window out into the rainy courtyard beyond. Strahd will take his lair action. You watch as he inhales and then exhales slowly, and his form becomes shimmering like mist, almost insubstantial for a moment. And then he smiles. Amity, your undead is up.
The undead goes after Amity, but Amity is up.
Ah, excellent.
She is going to march forward. And she is going to similarly cast a fireball, crushing one of the gems in her helmet.
All right. Same place as Earthendeer?
Yeah.
All right. Give me some damage as you crush one of the gems and blinding, radiant, spraying light bursts forth from it, swirling through the air and exploding in an almost crystalline shimmer that resembles the Aurora Borealis, but with a fierce, blazing crimson radiance.
36 fire damage.
Oh,
Okay, let's see how
sexy.
Strahd does on his dex save. 27.
Cool, that cuts it in half to 18 fire damage.
Very good.
And next will be the ghost's turn, unless he wants to do something in between.
Excellent. And if you'd like to move as well, you should be able to do so.
Thank you.
Very good. In that case, at the end of your turn, Strahd is going to... Let me just check something very, very briefly. Excellent. Strahd is going to use a legendary action to move 1, 2, 3, 4, then smiling, pass through the walls of Ravenloft and vanishing from sight.
Which wall did he pass through?
The one just to the left of the door where Amity's undead is.
All right, good to know. Thank you.
Okay. And with that, Amity, your undead begins its turn. What would you like to do?
Tricky. Just stand there near the wall and grab him if he comes back through. It'll ready the grapple action.
All right. Is that it for your turn?
Yeah.
Or for the undead's turn? Alrighty. In that case, I believe the one we have next up is Kiva.
All right, so Kiva is going to move sort of diagonal here to Ez, and then ready in action to use the Sun Sword, or to use the Holy Symbol to cast Hold Vampire the second she sees Strahd re-enter the room.
Okay, very good. And I think because that is a magic item charge and not a spell, it will not be spent if the trigger doesn't go off. Is that correct? Our rules lawyers?
I think so. I'm
No
not
idea.
sure.
I believe
Also,
that's
did
the way it
Strahd-
works.
Did Strahd take anything from passing through the sunlight or no?
He did not start his turn there.
Okay,
So
all right.
he has a -1 initiative, in case you didn't notice.
I did notice. Yeah, it was pretty sweet of Earthendir to do that. All right, that's all, I guess, for now.
Okay.
Oh
Very
wait,
good.
can I free action call him a punk bitch for running away?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, she's gonna scream, "You're a punk bitch!" and then, go back to being ready.
Okay. Very good. Ismark is up. He will look around, frowning, and will then take a step back toward Metreon, in between Irina, and ready his sword in case anything should approach them. Irina will take her turn, readying her crossbow in the same. And with that, Lillison, you're up.
Lillison is going to stop casting from the Scroll of Cone of Cold, and is instead going to... Let's see. Let us cast Blink, because that seems like it'll be useful here.
Okay, so what happens?
So... Nothing happens until the end of her turn, but she is gonna move, let's say, there, and then end her turn. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
She has not yet flipped onto the ethereal.
Gotcha. Okay. So with that, I believe that ends your turn. And Metreon, you're up.
Metreon's going to stay put, but he is going to ready an Eldritch Blast if Strahd or any antagonistic entity enters this area. However, DM, because I am an agent of chaos, what would be the stat to roll to see if Metreon remembers not to close his eyes?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
What would the stat to roll be for Metreon to remember to close his eyes when fighting Strahd?
I would say that's up to you. If you think you might forget it, I would allow for intelligence.
5. All right. And that's his turn.
Very good. And so ends your turn, and so begins Strahd's turn, in which nothing evidently seems to happen. Esmeralda moves to wield her rapier and hand axe and says, "Look out. He's regenerating. As the second he comes back again, it'll be like those spells we cast didn't do anything. He could come back from anywhere."
God damn it.
He really is more of a coward than I thought he'd be, That's it? You're just gonna stand there and take it, go off and hide, and then come back and just let us do it again? I mean, what?
It's 9-on-1. He's wearing us down.
You
Can
can
he
call
see
it
us through the
cowardice.
walls?
That I do not know. But all I know is that this is not how a coward fights. This is how a predator fights.
Well,
Let us take care that we do not become prey by underestimating him.
fair enough. All right.
All right, in that case, we are back at the top of the initiative order with Earthendir. What are you doing?
Earthendir's going to head over to that window he just broke and look out into the storm to see if he can find any sign of Strahd.
Make a perception check if you'd like to use your action to do so.
I would. 14.
14. There's no sign of him, just the darkness and the roiling of the clouds overhead and the swaying of the dead trees and the harsh winds.
He's not outside, but spread out. We don't want to be able to catch all of us in a big ol' fireball. He's going to move to the corner to adjudicate that, and that's his turn.
All right. With that, it is Davian's turn, who will cough and say, "Right, there was supposed to be something else in here, right? Something we can use."
A book.
Fuck, right, do we know where it is?
No.
There's supposed to be something magic on the altar in here, right? We were told
Yeah,
that.
right, yeah.
Right.
What is the exact text of the card, if anyone has it?
To go way back in my notes.
I'm actually talking about what the demon told us as the location
the
of the
demon
map.
told us about
Yeah,
some.
I wasn't. But there's
Davian
also...
looks at the altar and just kind of looks at it a bit squeamishly. Right, well, there's a sort of pretty-looking silver statue. Looks like some sort of priest. There's this weird fucking, I don't know, is it mace maybe on the ground? And then there's this dead guy. I don't know if he's the magic item, but I'm not touching the dead guy.
We were told it was knowledge
Right.
to help us in our fight. So it has to be something that isn't, I would suppose, a mace, unless we're supposed to animate that dead body and ask him questions.
I really hope
Fucking
not.
hope not.
Then let's keep looking.
All right, does anyone have the exact text of the reading at their disposal?
No.
I think it's.
It's
I
pinned
have-
somewhere in our messages.
All right. In that case, Davian will grumble and say, right, fuck it, let me take a look around here. See if there's anything I can find. I'm useless to you anyway. I'll start fuddling around the altar. Say-
Sorry.
Mhm.
This... Amity
I
can
have it.
recite this. This card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy, the master of glyphs, the priests. You will find what you seek in the castle amid the ruins of a place of supplication.
Okay, so it's just in here somewhere. We gotta get looking.
David, can you dig around, find it?
Hey, I think... Oh, shit. Hey, I think there might be something here. And he kind of clambers on top of the altar and peers over the other side. An altar is a place where people supplicate, right? I don't know what that means, but that sounds about right.
Kneeling, yes.
Yes, that thing. There's something here behind it, behind that little statue. There's... I don't... It's a book or something?
That
We'll
would tell
throw
us
it
a
to one of
knowledge.
the guys who can read.
Right. Excuse you, I can fucking read. He grumbles, but he grabs something on the other side of the altar and looks around looking for someone to toss it to.
Aerith raises his hands.
All right, Davian will boomerang the book toward you, taking a step at an angle where he can do so, and will fling it through the air.
Aerith catches it.
All right, it lands with a very satisfying thump in your hands. It is a fairly weighty tome, bound in a thick leather cover with steel hinges and fastenings. You can feel the crackling of the brittle parchment at the very front of it. There is emblazoned the steel iconography of the crest of Strahd von Zarovich, of the von Zarovich house, the rising tower of the keep and the raven with wings spread wide.
All right. Once we get a quiet moment, I'll look through this.
All right, sounds good. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out. Then he will shrink back a little bit away from the altar, looking wary. That is the end of Davian's turn. Esmeralda is up. She's going to step very carefully over here, next to Lillison, bringing out her rapier and her hand axe and looking just very at the ready. She's readying an action to attack anything that comes close to her. Star's lair action comes and goes. Amity, it's your ghost's turn.
It's Amity's turn first, and she and the ghost will both just strategically separate a little bit in order to not catch the entire party in a fireball. And both ready the grapple action. And Amity will use a bonus action. Ismok, we have to make him our prey. Grab him if you can. And she's going to give him bardic inspiration, asking him to stand somewhere where ideally, if Strahd comes through the wall, he can grab.
Ismark nods and flexes his knuckles, crunching his hand into a fist. Right, I'll keep an eye out. Good luck. End of your
Amity
turn.
nods, that's the turn.
All right. With that, Kiva, you're up.
All right, Kiva's going to go to the most central place in the room to try to keep the sun sword as visible as possible and cover as much as she can. She's going to keep readying that hold vampire action with the fucking holy symbol.
All right. Very good. Next up is Ismark. He's going to ready a grapple for anything that comes close to him. Arinda's going to ready with her crossbow. Lillison, you're up.
Lillison shakes her head just in impatience, maybe for the first time since she's been in Barovia, and she is going to head right through that door.
All right, you're taking a look inside.
She is going to take a look inside.
Excellent. You see that the large flagstones of this spiraling staircase lead up and down around a 20-foot wide stone core. Cobwebs fill the staircase, making it difficult to see even the ceiling. Heavy beams sag overhead from centuries of supporting weight. There's no sign of Strahd. The staircase appears to ascend on the right and descend on the left. And then there's just a sheer wall in front of you.
She speaks back over her shoulder. It's a staircase. And did you say a sheer wall? Like in the middle of the staircase?
Not in the middle of the staircase. It's just the rounded core of the stone staircase, and then the stairs going up and down on either side. And what's your intelligence again?
It is 16.
16. You briefly do the math, and you realize that this is probably the same staircase that you saw at the very bottom of the catacombs leading up.
This is a staircase. He could have gone up or down. I think this staircase goes all the way down to the crypts we were in. Not the actual room, but somewhere around there.
God damn it, so we could be anywhere by now.
Well, do we want to follow him and give chase and give him an opportunity to get us in a smaller area, or do we want to stay put?
I think we stay put for right now. We don't even know if he went up or down the stairs, so we'd just be leaving our best opportunity. Plus, we never got the magic thing that the Dybbuk mentioned.
Look around for the magic thing. I'll see if I can take a look. And with that, she is going to end her turn and see if she goes into the ethereal.
All right, let's find out.
No, she does not.
Damn it!
Alas.
One of these days.
We'll get there eventually. Metron, you're up.
Yeah, Metron, overhearing the conversation about and remembering what the Dybbuk said about the magic item, he goes back up to the altar, and he's going to investigate, see if there's anything there that might be of interest. He's looking at the statue, but he's also looking at the mace, seeing, trying to decide if one of the others seems more in line with what the Dybbuks talked about.
Sure. So the mace, I'll start with the mace. It is lying on the ground a bit away from the corpse. The corpse itself is dressed in a very fine fur cloak, clearly once very valuable and well made. The mace onto his side has a silver shaft that ends in a golden handle at the very end, and at the top of it is an ornate work of carved, what looks like gold-plated steel that mounts into a sunburst with wickedly sharp spikes at the very top.
And then what about the idol?
Actually, no, sorry, I was incorrect. That is not the appearance of this item. I was looking at the wrong mace. Here we go. This one does not look like that. It is not golden. In fact, it is a dark navy blue, in places almost black, with spirals of dark indigo running up its length. You can see at the very bottom a purple bulbous cap at the bottom, and the axe itself the mace itself almost resembles a skull with four jutting bone-like spurs coming out and curving like horns toward a central point at the top. It is unpleasant to look at.
So I rolled a 17 on an investigation. Do I find anything about like the statue on the altar, or?
So, I mean, there's nothing really to investigate. I'm not going to require an action for it. The statue itself just looks like a kneeling priest making a gesture of supplication. It seems to be silver wrought.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't know anything about magic. Yeah, he's just gonna...
Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that you did notice that there is a single shaft of light, despite the storm, that falls directly on the statuette.
Oh, it's falling directly on the statue. Okay.
Correct.
Then Indiana Jones style, he's gonna look at it, look up at the light, kind of shake his head incredulously, like this can't be it. This it can't be this convenient. And he'll reach out and just kind of very carefully take it up off the altar and examine it.
As your fingers come into contact with it, there is immediately a spark of warmth. The same spark that you felt in your dreams when you encountered the angel that gave you your abilities, when you felt the touch of Father Lucian's spirit, when you felt the warmth of the holy spells you've cast. This is a potent artifact.
I got it. I got it, Emily. I got it. I don't know what it does, but I got it. It feels the same way as my own stuff, my own magics. You know, it's got that warmth. I don't know what it does, though.
Right. That's great. Then, if he doesn't come back, then +1, whatever that does.
Right. Yeah. And Metron just sort of holds it and looks at it, and that's his turn.
Okay, your turn ends, and Strahd's turn begins and ends. Earthendir, you're up again. I'm just gonna... As of now, nothing seems to be happening, so if you'd like to begin some more longer-term actions, you may do so, or you can continue doing short-term things. There's no sign of Strahd yet.
Yeah, Aerith's come to the conclusion that he's not coming in until he's good and ready. So he's going to probably join Metreon on the altar. What is it? What'd you find?
He just pushes it in his face like a little kid showing off a toy.
Does Aerith, do you have any indication about what this might be?
You're not sure. It seems to be a very nice statuette. From the weight of it, it seems like pure silver.
I'll take your word for it. What about the mace?
If you'd like to pick up the mace, you can do so.
I will.
All right, as soon as you do, you feel a jolt of unpleasant energy. You hear the distant shrieks of terror, and for a moment you are reminded of the sight of the fleeing refugees of the war you left behind so long ago that then vanish.
Aerith flings
mace
it across the room.
Glints with an evil light. It has power to it, but it might not be power that
he's
you would
throwing
enjoy
it
wielding.
out the window. Don't touch that one.
Well, I mean, we can't now. You just throw it out the window.
You take my point.
Willison looks very curiously after it.
Of course she does.
It is light enough, you think, to lift with Mage Hand. Up to you. But
Go get it, Will! Go get it, Will!
All right. That's Earth's turn.
All right, you do have the book. Do you want to do anything with it, or just end your turn here?
In my turn here.
All right, Davian is up. Davian has nothing to do. All right, shit. What the fuck are we doing then?
Can you bird out and scope ahead?
He nods. I can do that, but we got, 3 doors plus whatever the fuck's on that balcony up there? Where do you want me to go first?
Where do we think he went?
Try balcony first. That's our immediate escape route if things go sour. We want to make sure that one's clear.
I can do that. And his body shimmers, transforming into the small raven shape, and he immediately begins flapping his wings upward into the air. Right, no sign of any fucking vampires up here. There's bloody pair of thrones here. It looks like stairs coming up, another set of bloody doors, and there's someone sitting in the thrones. They don't look good.
Thank you. All right.
Sitting?
Sitting's not exact. It's a more polite word. Maybe slumped, dead. I don't know. He'll end his turn. Esmeralda will begin hers and say, "Right then, do we want to be spread out or come together? We know that he has fireball, but
Spread out.
All right, spread out it is. Listen, I hope you don't mind if I stay next to you, just in case anything should come about."
Of course.
Right. We'll see what happens. And she will ready her rapier and her hand axe, looking down this doorway in case anything should emerge. Strahd will take his lair action. Amity, it's your ghost's turn. And your turn as well.
Nice. Amity going first is going to just move to spread out. And just take the dash action. Actually, no. You know, here's enough spread out for now. Next turn, she can dash to the other side of the room. Ready, action, grapple. Meantime, she commands her ghost, go scout a little. And it is going to move... Foundry thinks my ghost can't move through walls. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute?
Where would you like to move it?
Just scout, peer through the wall to the north.
All right, into the Hall of Faith, into the wall itself, because the ghost can't see in the wall.
Right, it can. So I guess Strahd went through... Oh, I see. So Strahd went through the wall over here. So it's going to peer through to, like, the northeast.
Like back to the Hall of Faith?
Sorry, I meant west. I'm dumb. But
Gotcha.
yeah, basically peer through to the northwest, ending its movement. I think here should work. Just looking if Strahd's like right through this wall.
All right, it does a brief patrol, a brief sweep, and then comes up on the other side looking very faintly disappointed. Strahd does not seem to be in the vicinity of that area.
Okay, good to know. Then it will take the dash action to spread itself out a little more helpfully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And next turn it can also dash to the other side of the room. End turns.
All right, excellent. Kiva, you're up.
I think just same thing. Keep readying an action. Unless there's something else that I can be effective at, but I think that's the most effective thing.
All right, very fair. That'll do for now. And with that, it is Ismark's turn. He'll ready in action, as will Irina. Lillison, I believe it is your turn.
Lillison is going to peer curiously out the window towards where Earthwinder threw the mace.
Would you like the mace?
I would like to see how Earthwinder reacts first.
He grimaces. If you must. It's bad. Bad juju. Bad magic. Like, worse than normal.
So, in other words, possibly exactly the thing we need?
He closes his eyes. Do it.
She's going to cast Mage Hand and retrieve the mace.
All right, the mace will float easily enough toward you. You might have to move a little bit closer to the window because he did yeet it out the window.
Yes, but he has 8 strength. His pitching arm is not good.
That's fair. I'll say Lillison has to move 10 feet south if she wants to mage hand this.
She has moved 10... Oh, south.
Oh, sorry, down. The directions of Ravenloft are absolutely skewed.
Yes, she is going to do that and sort of reach out tentatively as it floats closer.
All right. You're able to grasp it in your hand if you would like.
What can she tell from grasping it?
There is a brief flash in your mind, and you can feel in that moment a memory, a recollection of a time when you gazed into a mirror for the first time, saw your face, and in your soul knew only fear. It flares through you for a moment as you grit your teeth, and then the memory vanishes, dissipating, and you feel a cold throb of chilled energy from the handle of the mace.
I think we're going to do very well together. And then she is going to walk back to the wall and wait and see if she goes into the ethereal.
All right, let's roll it.
There we go. Ethereal
Hey!
time.
Bamf.
All right, what can she see through these walls?
What is your range of vision in the ethereal
I believe
plane,
it
if
is
it's noted?
60 feet.
60 feet, okay. So looking through the walls, I'll say it gives you a very basic, like structural X-ray vision. Does that seem reasonable for the ethereal?
Yeah.
Based on Argynvost? All right. So looking ahead of you, you can see that the staircase descends down and up. There seems to be a strange obstruction around 10 or 20 feet downward through the stone. At the very center of the curving stone core of the pillar is a tall shaft that climbs to the highest peaks of the castle, vanishing into the mist of the ethereal and plummeting down into darkness where you presume the crypts lie. You glance to the left, right, no sign of Strahd, and then you glance up, and you see, very faintly, just beyond a pair of double doors on the second floor, gazing serenely out toward the direction of the balcony, Strahd von Zarovich.
I understand that I just ended my turn, which is how I made that roll, but I would like to convey all of this information as, you know...
Does Raries carry across planes?
That's a good question.
It cannot extend to other planes of existence, I'm afraid.
Okay. That's going to be interesting. So, I guess everybody else just felt Lillison just snap off from group chat.
Metron, you're up.
Chat.
Anything different Metron's doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Is it an action to try and attune to something?
Looking over it, you don't think you'd be able to attune it without spending an hour to, short rest with it and all
Got
that.
it. All right. Well, he'll just throw it in his bag, which, to remind everybody, it's not visible, so it just looks like he's putting it into his torso. But he'll look around. Lil, where's he going? What are we doing? We're staying here. We going?
We gotta find him first. Once we find him, we blitz.
Right. The Metron's gonna go up to the last place that he saw Lillison and just wait there to see if she pops back out.
All right.
And that's his turn.
Strahd's turn begins. There is a brief moment of terrible silence. And then, let me just do some rough calculations. You hear as suddenly, just for a brief heartbeat, there is a sound, a cry of a raven from overhead. But before you can respond, you see a crackling mote of black swirling flames streak down toward the ground, toward the center of your group. And let's see where he wants to place this fireball.
Oh,
Just
Let's
clarification real quick. Does this count as something I can see for like a dexterity save that might happen, since I can see the flames?
Yes, I would say you can see the flames.
Great.
Let's see where we can place this.
Oh god, Davian.
I think... this will do nicely. No.
Hello, boy.
Over here.
Hello,
Over here.
Canto.
Because we wouldn't want to hit Irina now, would we?
Love that human meat shield.
Alright, so I'm going to need dex saves from Ez, Metreon, Ghost, Kiva, and Aerith. And Amity, if I
Oh,
didn't say
we
that.
did not spread ourselves out as well as I thought we did.
Nope!
That's a 20 on the save. Dirty 20.
I'm so glad
Very
I
nice.
spread myself into the ethereal.
Right?
19.
19. Alright.
$28.
22.
Okay, so I think... oh, I just need to roll for Ez. And, Amity, do you roll for your Ghost?
Good point.
I think that everyone rolled
It's
actually
gonna fail.
really high. Alas, everyone except the ghost. So, the ghost takes 27 points of fire damage. Everyone else takes 13.
Oh, that only eats through my temp. Fuck yeah.
And Metron, you actually take 6.
Yes, me and Amity only take 6, right?
Woo!
Yes, I believe
Fire
so. And with that, Strahd, you see as a dark silhouette, a tall and gaunt, stands at the very top of the balcony and then steps back into the darkness. But Davian is cawing insistently still. And that is the end of Strahd's turn. I believe we're at the top again with Erthrendir.
All right. Erthrendir's blood goes cold. He looks around at the others to make sure that nobody's hurt too badly, and then hums, and the magic of the blade song surrounds him, as he also casts haste. It is time to go vroom.
Sonic.
We love Vroom.
We do love vroom.
Gotta go fast.
As he then sprints towards the stairwell.
Alrighty.
So how much movement would it take to get up that?
Movement to get up there?
Yeah.
Um,
It was 45 feet from where I was to here.
I believe it'll be an additional 50 feet to get to the top.
Wonderful. So that's 95 out of 160. I have 55 feet remaining. Or 65 feet remaining.
And let me move you up there.
All
Okay,
right.
Erthrendir, you thunder your way up a set of dark, creaky stairs, passing a wooden landing, and ascending to a dark balcony that looks down overhead. As the old wood, creaking and groaning, leaves behind you, you find yourself emerging onto a sculpted stone railing enclosing a long balcony which overlooks Ravenloft's chapel. You can see 2 ornate thrones standing side by side in the center of the balcony, covered with dust and strung with cobwebs. The thrones face away from the double doors that give access to the balcony.
Any sign of Strahd or Davian?
Davian, you can see, he is fluttering around 50 feet off the ground.
Aerith
In the
frantically taps into the telepathic bond. What'd you see?
He stepped back through the doors, I think.
Right. I'm going after him. I'll keep him busy. Y'all do your best to follow up and take advantage of this. Is Aerith's going to throw the doors open?
All right. You speed toward the doors, throw them open, and see in the space beyond a 20-foot-high hall with a dark, vaulted ceiling draped with cobwebs. A low moan seems to travel the length of the corridor as it rises and falls, intoning sadness and despair. There's no immediate sight of Strahd. It's full of darkness and shadow.
He's gonna use his remaining 60-ish feet of movement to head down that hallway.
All right, and head down that hallway you shall. You step forward into the hall, leaving the balcony and the thundering of the storm behind. You speed forward, you said, what, another 60 feet?
More or less. It's hard to know without actually being able to see it.
Sure. And you should be able to see this as 2F King's Hall at the very top.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Thank you, DM.
Excellent. So, stepping forward, you speed down the corridor, searching for any sign of Strahd, and as you do, around halfway down, you hear a scraping of stone against stone, followed by the squeaking of a bat. Looking up in the direction of the noise, you see the fanged visage, outstretched claws, and flapping black cape of a vampire bearing down on you from above. A deep, throaty chuckle fills the hall as you see, soaring down toward you, fangs and claws outstretched, the burning crimson eyes of Strahd von Zarovich.
All right. Strahd, Erthrendir's stopping right here and raising his sword. He's ready. That's his turn.
Alrighty, so ends Erthrendir's turn. Davian is up. Davian will stay where he is I think. Esmeralda is up. She will take her turn and say, "Shit, okay, I did not expect him to go running off like that.
I'm right here. He's here. Up in this
right.
hallway.
In the telepathy. Shit, right, alright. Let's go join him." And she's going to make her way to join Erthendir. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and start climbing the stairs. That is the end of Esmeralda's turn, which means it is Strahd's lair action. Okay. It is now time for Amity's ghost.
Yes. How tall is the chapel?
The chapel is, I think, 90 feet, but the balcony is 50 feet off the ground.
50 feet off the ground to the balcony. Okay, excellent. Then the ghost is going to fly up to just under the balcony and 30 feet north of where it currently is. Sort of under Strahd. That's the goal here. Like under the floor where Strahd is. This is a dash action. After Amity
getting
dashes,
up to the balcony or getting under the balcony?
It doesn't want to be where Strahd can see it. So yeah, Amity's going to commit to do that, basically get under where Erthendir says Strahd is, and then on his next turn come up to attack.
Gotcha, so moving slightly into the Hall of Faith.
Yes,
okay.
That's right. This might be above its ceiling, I don't know. Meanwhile, Amity's going to dash over here and follow Esmeralda up the stairs, only getting, I think, a few steps up with this movement speed. And that's the turn.
Okay, that is fair enough. You emerge onto the King's Balcony, if you see at the top navigation. Okay, so ends Amity's turn. Kiva, you're up.
So if Kiva were to take a few steps back towards the altar, could she see up the balcony?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay, and the sunlight extends 60 feet in all directions?
That is correct. It is a nimbus around you. So if you're 60 feet away from the balcony, it would proceed upward. If you're further, it'll be going at a 45-degree angle, right? So it will not actually be entering the doors because, as far as you can tell, whatever doors Erthendir went through, there's a whole area beyond the balcony that you can't see right now.
I'm just trying to see if on the altar could Kiva see Strahd.
Based on the movement you heard of Erthendir, who literally just blurred off in wind a few moments ago, and the fading footsteps you hear, you don't think Strahd would be within sight if you were on the altar. You think you might have to follow them or find some way to climb the walls.
All right, because I wanted to cast a spell, but if I can't see him, then there's no point. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I guess she's gonna... Would it be reasonable to say that this doorway on the other side goes up the same way?
Do you mean the one on the right or the left?
Whatever the one the others didn't go up.
So, from what... you're not sure, but from your memory of the map,
okay.
I would say that you would recollect that the door to the left does not lead to the second floor. You don't know where it leads exactly, but you're pretty sure it doesn't lead to the second floor.
All right. She's going to go to the steps. Yeah. Let me see the movement that would take. And then, yeah, I guess continue readying an action in case he comes back.
All right.
I think that's about as far as I can get. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And so,
actually, wait, no, sorry. I have a lot more movement than I thought. So I have 15 feet left. Could that get me up the stairs?
If you want to go into this area, that'll get you to the base of the staircase. There's a whole little landing area that you'll have to pass through, but that could get you toward the stairs. But again, the left side does not lead to the second floor.
Right, sorry. My directional
all good.
sense
all
is
good.
wrong. So, yeah, I'm doing this on the right side.
Okay, so you want to follow Amity and Ez upstairs?
Yes, sorry.
All good. Easily enough. This is Castle Ravenloft. This is not exactly a well-plotted
This
architectural
map
marvel.
is
95 rooms.
Is hostile.
directions are not my strong suit.
Alrighty. Very good. So ends Kiva's turn. Alright. Which means that it is now Ismark's turn, who will look at Irina, shrug, and they will follow along. Ismark will glance back. Metiran, are you coming as well?
Do I got a choice?
He shrugs, looking slightly helpless. All right. With that, Ismark will head upstairs along with Irina. And so ends their turn. Lillison, you're up. Looking through here, in the current ethereal zone, so to speak, you can see the fuzzy outline of a corridor on the second floor. Erthrindir looking up at something, but there seems to be nothing there. Whatever he's looking up at is empty and blank. Instead, you see, just to the side of the corridor, beyond the fuzzy outline of the wall, Strahd, readying himself for something in the wall itself. What would Lillison like to do?
Before I leave the ethereal, which I'm about to do at the beginning of my my turn, can you clarify to which side of Erthrindir Strahd is?
He is to Erthrindir's left.
Okay. While
He's on your current side.
Okay. While I come out of the ethereal, I would like to pop out 10 feet away from where I started, which I assume cannot get me onto the second floor because the second floor seems to be really high up.
That is correct. The second floor
Okay.
is quite high up.
Okay, so I will pop out 10 feet up the staircase, I guess, and then use my action to continue running up the staircase.
Mhm.
And as I do so, I'm going to point towards where I know Erthrindir is and cast a message to him saying, Strahd is in the wall to your left. Be ready.
But he's also right the fucking front of...
I mean, I will say that I don't. If you want, I think you can use rares here because I don't think it's severed when you leave the plane. So it'll reconnect.
It's
as
not.
soon as
You
you're
just
in.
can't communicate while you're out of it.
Oh, well, in that case, I will not waste the action, and I will just broadcast that to the group chat. When I go into the ethereal, I can see through the walls within 60 feet. Strahd is on the second floor in the wall itself to Erthrindir's left.
Then he's got a duplicate or something.
Does not surprise me.
Nice. And remember, you can
And-
take your bonus action dash if you want to.
Yeah, I'm. How far up does 30 feet take me?
It takes you upstairs. These stairs continue going and going. You get to a end where you think the second floor is if you dash, and the stairs keep going. There's no landing. There's no exit. There's no door.
Okay, I will get to where I think the second floor would be, and I'm going to stop after having used my bonus action. And then I will ready my action, which I have not used, to... Okay, I can't tell from the wording of the message spell. Does that have the possibility of broadcasting between the ethereal and the material?
I would say not, because generally the range of spells requires them to be on the same plane.
Okay,
Also, the walls of this place are thick enough.
You would
to
need the
probably
sending
block
spell to communicate across planes.
yeah. And the sending spell has its own complications.
Indeed.
I will ready an action. Okay, I will ready an action in case I do not go into the ethereal this turn. to attack with the sword any hostile creature that I might see coming at me.
Easy enough to do. With that, your turn ends, and Metreon, you're up.
Yo. Yeah, so I'm going to use my movement and bonus action to dash. Get
Following
myself
the others?
Yeah, so that's King's Balcony.
King's Balcony. Let me plant you on down there. Et voila.
So it would put me up, like, because I had like 15 feet of movement left. Would that get me onto the actual steps? Like when I pass through the door, I have an additional 15 movement left. Would that get me up on there?
Yeah, I would say that gets you to around your current location.
Okay.
It's a little finagling, but I'd say that's reasonably fine.
Right. And I'm sorry, Lil, did you broadcast it to everybody about the duplicate?
Yeah, that was all in group chat.
Okay. Knowing then that that's the case, he will use his action to move up the stairs.
All right. You may move yourself as you... Well, I think you can go around here, right?
Is it... No, I can't. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, I'm colliding with a wall.
All good. I think you should be able to move right over here.
Yeah, I just wanted to move 3 more spaces down.
Go for it.
There we go. All right. And that's my turn.
All right. So ends your turn. And with that, Erthrendir, you watch as the vampiric form of Strahd von Zarovich, keep flapping through the air, descends, plummeting above you, and then flies 5 feet over your head. Its trajectory arcing back over your head and moving up toward the opposite end of the corridor.
The hell?
All right. That is the end of that. And so Strahd will take his turn. Erthrendir, you hear a low, deep chuckle from just behind you. Well, it would seem someone has gotten a bit overexcited. All alone in the big, scary castle, are we?
Something like that.
He eyes the flickering of the blade in your hand. So you wield the mystical art of the elven sword dancers. I presume you would expect me to respect it.
Oh God, no. I expect you to die.
And I expect you to crumple like the Dusk Elves' elite crumpled against 5,000 crossbows and cavalry. Whether you practice the lion or the viper, I think you'll find that you die a while before I perish.
Maybe.
But I think that we have a ways to go, and the
Why don't
two
you-
of us
Why
have
don't you come and
places to
test
be.
that, monster?
He smiles, eyes going wide, and he extends a hand toward you, a crackling orb of greenish bluish energy surging in his palm, and spirals through the air toward you, impacting directly into your chest. I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh fuck.
As Strahd's casting polymorph.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
15.
The DC was 18.
Shit.
Oh.
Your form bubbles and swells, features grotesquely shifting. I will say in that moment, as you feel your form begin to spiral and shrink, webbing beginning to go through your fingers, your skin becoming an unpleasant greenish-gray tinge, you may send one sentence to your compatriots over the group chat.
He's turned me into something. He's up in the hallway. Ah!
Silence.
Do we just hear ribbit ribbit over the chat now?
You do indeed hear a single ribbit as Erthrendir is turned into a frog. And let's see. That's fun. Okay, I think that is the end of that turn, which means that we are back at the top. And I'm going to need... never mind. Erthrendir, it's your turn. You are a frog.
Boy, I sure am. He croaks, looking up at Strahd, who suddenly seems very, very large, and I presume this is the frog stat block that has no attacks whatsoever.
That would be correct.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, this is a pickle. This is a problem. He is going to croak exceedingly loudly to try and let everyone know precisely where Strahd is. Is that a thing I can do?
Yes, that is. And I will say something that I neglected to mention is that Strahd did close the door behind him on his entry.
Shit.
He did have a free environmental interaction with which to do so.
In that case, I'm going to use my hasted action to disengage.
You are still concentrating, this is true.
As I run up to the door and croak as loud and start throwing my body against the doors, croaking as loud as I can.
Love it.
There's no way that Lilson can get this across in character, but like, what if you just sort of hopped into Strahd's pocket and we could just like get radio updates from you?
I presume at that point he can pull me out of his pocket and squish me.
Psh. Frog to base. Alright, is that the end of Aerith and Frog's turn?
Regrettably.
Alright, Davian will take his turn. He will flappy flap his way over to the top of the balcony. And unfortunately, because Strahd is not within sight because the door is closed, cannot use his special super secret awesome action. Alas. What he will do is he will just flutter over top of Metrion's head and caw excitedly. And will drop down and spend an action to transform back into his were-raven form. That's the end of Davian's turn. Next up is Esmeralda. She's going to run up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Zaren's there, right? And she looks back toward Metrion.
I think so, yeah.
Right, good. And she will make her way over here, dashing, throwing open the doors, and flinging them open wide. And she will look inside and see... Well, first off, as Davian ends his turn, Strahd is going to legendary action move his way next to Erthrendir. Esmeralda will immediately appear next to the both of them. Oh. Hello, Lord Zarovich. What an unlikely pleasure to meet you here. And she will look down at Erthrendir with a vaguely, oh fuck, expression. Beautiful. That's Esmeralda's turn. She is all dashed out. Strahd will use his lair action, raising a hand, it's smirking, and the door slams shut behind Esmeralda. And you hear the click of a lock. The door is now closed again.
Uh-oh.
And evidently locked somehow. Spirit, Ghosty, and Amity, you are up.
Yeah, Amity runs towards... What direction is towards the hallway right here?
If you'd like, you can make your way to the top of the balcony where Metrion and Davian are, and then toward the doors.
just tell me how much movement I still have, I guess.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 to get here.
Cool. And do I hear any croaking / knocking, or am I in the dark right now?
You hear some frantic croaking, very, very faintly.
Cool. And this is from the door to the north, right over here?
Yes, that's correct.
Cool. Then... oh boy. Amity will very carefully make her way up to the door.
Wait, are there 2 Amities now?
I don't know how this happened.
Oh no.
Is one the ghost?
We're sticking with this, though. I get to cast spells twice, right?
So you're moving over here to the opposite side, or?
Up to the door, yeah.
All right.
And then, I guess, trying to open it, but it's locked.
I mean, unfortunately, a free environmental interaction will not suffice. You'll need an action on your next turn.
And I already used my dash action to get here, so I'm pretty much useless. But Amity will command the ghost to rise up at the other side of the door. And it should see what's going on in there.
It can indeed, as it will rise up in the center of the hall. Aerthunder, you see Amity's ghost rise up around 10 feet behind Strahd. Your ghost sees, and you should be able to switch to this scene if you would like.
Yeah.
Strahd, Frog Thrindir, and Esmeralda.
Having heard Aerthrindir's sentence and croaking, Amity's like, just smack the frog. Can it try to smack the frog?
It can try to smack the frog, sure.
It can try to smack the frog. Okay.
Frog, just do it.
That's fun. So this is like a
I heard you go blind if you do that too much, though.
17 to hit. Oh my
That
god.
hits.
Yeah, that hits.
And it's like 10 necrotic damage. Is that okay?
I'll live with it.
So I assume all 10 of those were necessary to get you out of frog form.
Oh, just one.
Also,
Yeah, so Aerith takes 9 additional necrotic damage.
you have to make a wisdom saving throw, even though it probably won't be relevant.
18.
All right, then just back down through the floor for now. Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, thank God. Also need to make a con save.
Oh, yes, you're concentrating.
Oh, right, that's unfortunate.
16, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're still hasting.
Excellent.
And the ghost goes back down through the floor. I don't know whether this triggered AOs since I'm still sort of looking at multiple maps, but
you know what? Sure. Strahd will take his AOO against your spirit.
aghast.
Actually, no, wait. Let me take a look at this. No, he's not going to fucking bother.
Cool. It will live forever. And that's our turns.
All right. At the end of your spirit's... Sorry, at the end of... because your spirit goes after you, right?
That's right. I went, then my spirit went.
All right. So, and you're still concentrating on haste, right?
I am,
Essendir?
yes.
Is the Blade Song still active?
Yes.
Unfortunate. All right. In that case, Strahd will use his legendary action to yeet 30 feet back. And with that, he will bow with a dramatic sweep of his arm and smile. It seems that your friends are more resourceful than I had thought. Let the hunt truly begin. And I think that is a good opportunity to take our break.
Please. Oh my god. Can we take like a 3-hour break to strategize?
You will get 15 minutes.
Aerith will be speaking nothing but frog noises for the rest of the episode, I hope you know.
Yes, please.
Would you like a nice fly?
I would.
Frog Thrindir.
Alright, well, we will pick this back up, as always, after a quick 15-minute break. This week, instead of a fireside chat, we have the pleasure of hosting an adventuring interview with Barovia's favorite Elven Jedi. So please do enjoy. Stay on the edge of your seats, and we'll be right back.
Good evening, and welcome to Adventuring Interviews. I'm your host, Airthundiri Ariel. Tonight, we'll be talking to another one of my traveling companions. A woman of immense courage, remarkable cleverness, and incredible strength, Kiva. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me in your nebulous interview space.
Always. Well then, let's get started. What's your current state of mind?
Oh, right now? I feel good. A break from what we've been going through is much more welcome than I anticipated.
Right? You really don't notice the unrelenting horror until it stops for a few minutes. That's why I've enjoyed doing these, honestly. And the chance to learn more about y'all. Speaking of which, what's your idea of perfect happiness?
Ooh. Seeing my daughter grow old, knowing that I've done everything I can to shield her and protect her and teach her to be strong.
And what's your greatest fear?
That Garrick was right about me.
What's the trait you most deplore in yourself?
Oh, I don't know that I can name just one.
If you had to pick the worst, though.
I think I trust too easily. I let myself believe that there's more good in the world than there really is. I see a glimmer of hope, and I just try to hold on to it, even if it burns me.
And what's the trait you most deplore in others?
Ooh, presumption.
Can you expand on that a little?
My husband was the type of person who made a lot of money playing off of people's expectations for what was considered polite or acceptable. He was disrespectful and foul, handsy, quick-tempered, and he'd do anything he could to make a quick buck, even if it meant hurting others or coercing them to hurt themselves. His music was magical, I know now, the sort of thing you frown at Lillison for using. Helped him get away with a lot that in an otherwise civilized society would be unacceptable.
I'm sorry. Reminds me of my old boyfriend. He was always that kind of man, using people as he needed to pull himself up. Magic and all. Damn glad you're rid of him. What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Violence is never the answer. It's bullshit. Sometimes violence is the only answer.
Damn right. Unfortunately. What's the quality you like most in a woman?
Resilience. Every woman I've known, really known, has had an incredible capacity for strength. I mean, that power to stand even when the whole world wants you to fall. It's inspiring. How could it not be? But I'm also a complete sucker for a nice smile.
Wes does have rather nice teeth. At any rate, what or who is the greatest love of your life?
Ava. I didn't understand when I was young how powerful love could be, and then I saw her face. There's no love greater.
I'm so glad you're going to have her again. It's maybe the one true gift this place has given us. When and where were you happiest?
My dad, when I was young, used to draw me pictures of the Feywild and tell me about my mother. It was when I felt closest to her in those moments. It was like the very act of remembering her brought her back to us for just a few minutes each night.
If you could change just one thing about yourself, what'd it be?
Well, before Barovia, I'd say I'd change how quick I could be to anger, but it's come in handy quite a few times. So, now I guess I'd change how long I lived in fear of being who I am.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
I don't know if I'd say it's my greatest achievement, but the Sun Sword, finding me worthy enough to wield it, is an incredible honor.
Well, aside from the Sun Sword, what would you call your most treasured possession?
In here, it's been that journal Lil nicked from the murder house.
Oh, really? Or what sort of stuff do you write in it?
It's been a record of my time here, I suppose. Notes about our travels and warnings, things I can't say to other people. Things about my past, wishes for the future. If I don't make it out, I'd hope someone else finds it. Maybe it can help them. At the very least, it'll be some kind of legacy. You know, some proof that I was here and I was alive, and maybe I won't be forgotten.
I promise you won't be. What do you most value in your friends?
Their brilliance and kindness and capacity for empathy and, despite everything, ability to trust. And just about every one of them can tell an incredible story.
Oh, thank you. Oof, sorry about this one. How would you like to die?
Ooh, don't be sorry. This is a good question. I used to say in my sleep, but that's not for me anymore. If I am going to die, especially here, I want to take Strahd down with me. Castle, kingdom, all.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a few names, and I want you to tell me the first thing that pops into your head for each of them. Don't screen it, just let it happen. Lillison.
Ooh, future unrelenting monarch.
Amity.
Fairy tale princess who doesn't need saving.
Metreon.
My twin flame.
Earthrendeer.
Perpetual explorer.
Strahd.
An actor about to take his final bow.
All right. Now, one final question. If you can go back and tell past Kiva anything at all, what would you tell her?
Ooh. Okay. Past Kiva. If you ever find yourself having to run, and you're thinking of going back to Neverwinter, make sure you invest in a better set of armor before you go.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It puts things very nicely in perspective considering where we're headed next.
It does. And for now, dear listeners, be safe and take care.
My friends, it is I, Count Strahd von Zarovich, and I bid thee listen. The Guild of the Black Crow have produced over 5 hours of ambient sound design for my most beautiful and ancient land. As used by Twice Bitten, these ambient backgrounds include my most private and intimate of letters, as well as bonus tracks not found in the Dungeon Master's handbook. So, hear me now. I guarantee you safe passage to their camp. Support them, and perhaps we shall meet sooner than you think.
If you think your hometown has problems, you haven't spent nearly enough time in the village of Barovia. Over the years, their taste for human flesh had only grown. The vampire spawn, the undead cult, the werewolf den. I just think we can do a little better here. Grab our shovels and we're gonna add some depth to help you run your best Curse of Strahd. Strahd possible. You're welcome. He flies into a fit of rage that is unparalleled. There's child abuse galore through this thing. He's been nailed to the wall with very long iron spikes, and I imagine it's been a very uncomfortable time for him.
You see, in tracking a monster, one always needs proper bait.
Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten, is proud to be sponsored by Foundry VTT, The Forge, and Benios Battle Maps. If you're looking for a self-hosted, modern, feature-rich virtual tabletop for your D&D or other TTRPG games, make sure to check out Foundry Virtual Tabletop, a one-time purchase software that lets your players connect and play for free. If low-effort automation, a gorgeous, user-friendly interface, and an endless library of additional features sound up your alley, make sure to check out Foundry at foundryvtt.com. If you're looking to host your Foundry VTT game in the cloud, make sure to also check out The Forge, a no-hassle RPG platform that's uniquely integrated with Foundry VTT. Manage your games online efficiently and easily, and stay focused on being a great dungeon master instead of spending precious preparation time managing local servers. Check them out at forge-vtt.com. Finally, if you're running a Curse of Strahd campaign of your own, make sure to check out Benios Battle Maps, a creator of high-quality, animated 3D battle maps and tokens for your D&D game. Become a patron at patreon.com/BeniosBattleMaps to receive animated battle maps for Death House, Argnvastolt, and a full render of Castle Ravenloft, complete with built-in sound effects, scene handouts, and a full automatic Foundry integration. To see Benios' Ravenloft maps in action, make sure to watch Twice Bitten's climactic finale, as our heroes delve into the depths of Strahd's lair.
Hey y'all, Serena here. If you like what you're watching, you can scroll down the page a little bit and hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell to stay notified for when our next episode goes live. You can also click through to our channel to watch all of our past sessions, fireside chats, and highlights from the stream. If you want to stay connected with us, you can do so via our Reddit, reddit.com/r/TwiceBittenDND, or our Twitter page at TwiceBittenCOS, or by good old-fashioned email, twicebittencos@gmail.com.
And welcome back, everyone. So, I believe last we left off... Oh, right. You were in a crowded corridor with Strahd von Zarovich. As he bows almost mockingly, and his words ring through the corridor, I do believe the hunt is on at last. And he will use legendary action as mentioned. And Kiva, you're up. You are on the staircase, behind, I believe, a few of your compatriots, alongside Ismark and Irina. No, you're a little bit ahead, actually, and you see Metra and David at the top of the balcony. Amity's out of sight. What are you doing?
Alright, so a magically locked door can't be, like, cut through with a blazing sun sword, right?
It can. You can try to actually cut through the door. Doors have AC and HP like anything else. I can't guarantee that you'll kill it. It might take, multiple attacks to do it. But
alright, yeah,
let's
recklessly attack the door.
Alright, shall we move you over there?
That would be great, just because I can't see where
Excellent.
I'm at
All
on
good?
the thing.
Yep, and you should be able to click 2F King's balcony on the top left. And that'll take you to where your token is.
Oh, sexy. Alright.
Alrighty. So, bringing up the Sun Sword, if you'd like to start... You know that thing at the start of Phantom Menace where, the Jedi start cutting through the doors? It's basically that. Give me a pair of attack rolls if you're recklessly doing that.
Looks like the first one is a 26, so maybe I don't need to do the advantage on that. So the first one's a 26.
You have to pre-declare, I'm afraid.
Oh, for reckless?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do it at the start of your turn.
Yeah, for sure. Then that's fine. I just meant I didn't need to roll again because I didn't know if it was
gotcha.
gonna be higher than a 26.
But it could be a crit. It could be a crit.
All right, let's do it. You know what? Fuck it, we'll do it live. No, it's not higher than a 26. So let's
All right, how much damage?
26. 13 points of damage.
Gotcha. I'm going to say that you slice through it, starting cutting through it. It's not quite enough. It looks like maybe...
Well, I get two attacks.
Yeah, you get a second attack. Make your second attack. The second attack might actually do it.
That's a 28 with another 13 damage. Okay, great. Great.
All right, 13 damage. You slice your sword through the door, cutting it from its hinges, melting them off, and then I'm assuming you would like to kick it down, right?
Yeah, she's kicking it down and then she's going in.
The door is kicked, and somewhat ungracefully, as Erthrendir, you're on the opposite side of this, and the door is immediately kicked toward the back of your head.
Yeah, no, that hits him. He is too.
No, you're able. You are conked on the shoulder. I'll say that you don't actually take any damage from it, but it certainly startles you awake. Kiva, looking beyond, you see Erthrendir and Esmeralda standing side by side, as well as Strahd around 35-ish feet down the corridor.
All right, well, he's in range of the sunlight, bitch, so start taking damage, hunty.
Maybe, maybe not. All right, and I believe that's the end of your turn, right?
Yeah, that's all I can do.
All right, the doors are now open. And with that, after Kiva, Ismark and Irina will take their turns, moving up behind Amity and Kiva. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe Irina can only move around. Well, she can move here, I think. And they're going to take out their assorted crossbows and fire off some shots at our friend Strahd. With disadvantage because they are not meeting his gaze. Alas. Irina misses with a 5. And Ismark misses with a 9. The bolts clatter to the back of the wall as Strahd ducks, weaving, merely swaying from side to side as they pass him through the air. Ismark growls and begins to reload. Lillison, you're up. I believe you were at the second floor on the stairs, right?
Yes, and not in the ethereal, so I do not know anything about what's going on.
Would anyone like to let Lillison know what's going on through the group chat?
What's going on?
Kiva would have said when she's kicking the door down that she's, like, in the hallway at least.
I don't think this particular staircase will get me to where all of you are. Should I keep going up, or should I see if I can get through the wall?
That's a question for another strategist, I think. Oh god, go through the wall?
Lillison will ready an action to attack anything hostile that she sees coming towards her, just in case she does not go into the ethereal. And she is going to see if she goes into the ethereal.
Let's find out.
Yes, she does.
All right, you bamf out of the material plane and back into the ethereal. You can now see Strahd standing around 35, 40 feet away from you on the far side of the corridor. Erthrendir staggering to his feet. The door slammed down, and Kiva with a blazing light of the sun sword immediately before her.
Okay, that's the end of my turn.
All right, after your turn, Strahd will use his legendary action to move right over here.
Did he go through the doors, to be clear, or through a wall?
He's still here in the corridor.
Oh, okay.
He used a different lair action, so he is not phasing this round.
Good.
All right, so ends that. I'm just going to move him over here. And so, Metreon, you're up.
Yo. Yeah, the doors are open. And he's visible in the corridor. The corridor is only 65 feet. Fantastic. Metreon is going to go ahead and rush up.
All right, you're moving into the corridor?
But he is going to go in between the four of them in front of the corridor doors. And,
gotcha. And you're entering?
No, he's going to light his hands up, and he's going to go ahead and throw a couple Eldritch Blasts at him.
All right, so from behind Ismark?
Yeah, unless there's a penalty, then he'll come up.
He'll have half cover against you.
All right, then I'll come up.
Okay. If you want to start rolling, feel free.
Yep. Oh yes, bitch. That's a 23.
Are you looking at him?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I rolled that wisdom save, or
Very
intelligence save.
All right, how much damage?
Are you kidding me? So it's a 1 plus 4, so 5.
Hey, a hit's a hit.
I guess. I hate when I roll great, but then piss damage. All right, second one. This is a 15 hit.
A 15 does not hit, I'm afraid.
All right. And then, yeah, he's going to use the bonus action to dash away back out into the hall.
All right, I'll move you right back out there. And so ends your turn. And so at that moment, as you do, you see sweeping down from the top of the corridor above you, just as you're leaving, the cackling form of Strahd von Zarovich, his black cape fluttering behind him, fangs and claws outstretched. He swoops down to the center of the corridor, up into the other side, and you hear a faint clicking and scraping sound. And Strahd vanishes somewhere amongst the ceiling. So that is the end of that thing's turn. Strahd has his turn now. And he is going to slip out the door behind him with a smirking nod toward Metrion's vanishing form. He will step out. 1, 2. Oh, that's irritating.
Haha.
Damn it. He doesn't have 2 free environmental interactions. He'll have to use the second one. 1, 2. Oh, 3. And he'll move 4, 5, 6. Right over here. And let me actually double check something very quickly. Because... okay, that's fine. He doesn't take sunlight damage. Alright, so ends Strahd's turn. Back at the top with Erthrendir, what's going on?
He coughs, retching, like trying his best to form words, but through the bond, you're just hearing these sort of like frantic animal noises. And then he kicks off at a run down the corridor towards where Strahd went. His pace kind of desperate. And I cannot move my token.
Oh, all good.
Oh,
there we go. So the next room you enter, you see another set of double doors that have now opened beyond where Strahd is. At each end of the hall, to your left and right, you can see floating in the darkness a human skeleton clad in the rusted armor and tattered livery of a castle guard. Both are facing you.
Shit, do I see Strahd?
You do not see Strahd, but you did see him vanish around the corner to the right beyond the next set of double doors.
Then we can deal with those undead another day. He's keeping going. Hello there. He does not say that in character, to be clear. What's Strahd doing?
But yes, you do pop around the corner and you see, in this new chamber that you enter, dim light from the courtyard falling into a great hall through the broken glass and iron latticework of a large window in the west wall. And actually, let's place you on the map properly. That's about right. Let's start.
Okay.
And in this chamber, you can see dim light from the courtyard falling into a great hall through broken glass and iron latticework of a large window in the west wall. This immense room is a place of chilly, brooding darkness. Empty iron sconces dot the walls, and hundreds of dust-laden cobwebs drape the hall, hiding the ceiling from view. Directly across from the window stand a set of double doors in the east wall. Farther south, a single door also leads from the east wall. Staircases at both ends of the north wall lead down. At the far southern end of the hall, a large wooden throne stands atop a marble dais, the high-backed throne facing south, away from most of the room. To your right, you see, at the set of stairs leading down beyond a pair of crimson mauve curtains, Strahd von Zarovich, his form standing tall in the darkness.
Erthrendir gives a sort of animal noise in his throat and just lunges at him, trying to tackle him, as he's going to try and grapple the man.
Okay. Make a athletics check, please.
I will. 18.
Let's see. 20.
Damn it.
Whew.
I don't have any cutting. I don't have any cutting words in store either. Okay.
Close. Well rolled.
Question.
Bats you away though.
Can I get around the stairway, or is he completely blocking that?
He's not blocking it. No, you can step around him.
Wonderful. He's going to use his action, his hasted action, to dash until he's directly in his path. Oh, no, you don't.
I will say that it's a 10-foot wide corridor. You cannot block it completely.
Well, I will try.
All right, that's fair enough.
Oh, no, you don't.
Strahd smirks down toward you. You standing alone, do you really think that you can individually put a stop to me from doing whatever it is that I please?
Oh, hell no. But I think I can stall ya. That's his turn.
We shall see. And that is the end of that. Moving right along, Damien.
And Airthrandir will communicate everything he's seen over the telepathic bond.
Alrighty. With that said, next up is Davian, I believe. And he's just going to move up behind the rest of you. That'll end his turn. Esmeralda is up. She is going to move forward, chasing after Airthrandir. And with that, we're now into Strahd's lair action, as Strahd smirks toward you, Airthrandir, and his figure shimmers and becomes ever so slightly insubstantial once more. Amity, it's time for your ghost's turn, and your turn as well.
Cool. I don't really understand where Strahd is.
Sure.
In relation to me.
You're currently standing at the entrance to the hall, right? The one where the Strahd went sweeping. So that is parallel to the Hall of Faith down below. That's leading directly toward the entrance of the castle. It's around 70 feet down, as far as you can tell. At the end of that corridor, there's a much larger chamber. This is the throne room that Airthrandir found. Strahd is just to the right of the entrance.
Okay, so Strahd is down a hallway from me and slightly to the right.
Bingo.
Okay.
Exactly.
Great, good to know. Amity will run down that hallway, which probably requires dashing to get closer.
This is true, but I would say if you want, you can make it around 60 feet.
That's right. Yeah, that's what the dash action does.
All right.
I guess, am I... Alright, and when she gets there, she will command the ghost to move in behind Strahd and attack him.
Okay, so the ghost, as it currently stands, is around... Let's take a quick measurement.
Oh, I see. It probably has to dash.
65 feet away from Strahd. But yeah, you can dash to get adjacent to Strahd. So if you want, you can order it to get next to Strahd.
Sure. I'll just order it to get under Strahd.
Ooh, snazzy.
For simplicity.
I'd say that's reasonably doable.
Great, and then I guess I end my turn here, since I'm not, close enough to him.
Very good. So, after your ghost's turn, Strahd will use a legendary action, smirking toward Airthrandir, and vanish to the wall, through the wall, toward Amity.
Amity's coming towards you, through the walls.
But only for a moment, and then he flickers back into view, slightly further down, at the base of the stairs, smirking up at you.
Never mind. He's down the stairs.
Alright, that's going to be his legendary action. So ends that. Which means next up is Kiva. And as you're taking your turn, I'm just going to take a moment to rearrange some tokens. So please excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know where I am in relation to things. So Strahd is now back on the ground floor?
He seems to be heading in that direction, if Airthrandir decides to share this.
He does.
Alright, how high up is this balcony?
The balcony is 50 feet up.
Do it. 5d10
The Chaos Goblin in me says... The Chaos Goblin in me says, yeet yourself off the balcony.
3-point landing.
Oh my god. Is it really going to be 5d10 damage?
5d6.
5d6.
Okay.
All
right,
And I
fuck
think
it.
Are you raging? No, I don't think you are.
If I rage first, it'll be halved, right? Okay, great. I'm raging first, and I'm yeeting myself off the balcony.
Okay, superhero landing. Let's fucking go. Let's pull things back up here so I can get you onto the appropriate map. But I'll say that it will require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, just 6 squares of movement to get you there. It will take you no movement, but you will land prone at the bottom. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yes.
Okay, great. So who's up next? Looking over it, I think we had Strahd move over here after Kiva, you dashed up, right?
What?
Yeah, she jumped off the balcony.
Oh, yeah, you jumped off, right.
I jumped off the balcony.
All right, so Kiva, you hurl your way off the balcony, do a 3-point superhero landing at the bottom. Roll 5d6 for me, please, as I move you to the chapel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's not bad.
Oh my God, that's only 12.
It's only 6 for you.
Half to 6. Oh, that was such a boss bitch move.
All right, you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage and land prone on the ground. You can spend half of your movement to stand up. You are on the cathedral level.
Hell yes, let's stand. Oh my God, that was good.
It is incredibly badass. There's like a thump in the ground. You actually feel the stones shake and crack beneath your weight as your boots slam into them, dust spilling and rising up around you. And then you kind of like do that thing where like, you know, fucking Iron Man like slowly lifts the gaze. You know, like the I'm feeling dangerous look.
Oh yeah.
It's really great. It's badass.
God, I love it.
All right, so you got half your movement left. Where would you like to go? Back in the Hall of Faith, I guess?
So it's Strahd is in the Hall of Faith or no?
He seems to be heading in that direction.
Okay, yeah, then she'll use her movement, yeah, the 20 feet to do that.
Okay, I'll say that you can get just barely into the Hall of Faith.
Okay, great.
And with that, it is Ismark and Irina's turns. They're not going to do that. They are watching respectfully as Kiva does that. But they're going to follow Erethrundir and Esmeralda ahead, which means that it is Lilith's turn.
Where can Lilith pop out? That would be useful.
So if you'd like... So you're in the ethereal plane right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if you'd like, as you see Ismark and Irina running by, you can pop out just next to them in the hall, where the others just were.
Okay. Can I see Erethrundir or Strahd from where I am?
No, they're more than 60 feet away.
Okay, then I will pop out with Ismark.
All right, I'll place you down on the map. We'll say right here. Does that seem fair? You're on the King's Hall.
Yes. I'm going to look around and just note the direction in which everybody else is running and go in that direction, I guess.
All right. Run as you like.
I assume that they're running to the left.
Yes, they are running in that direction. And so, Metreon, you're up.
Yeah, I'm following
hold
after.
on.
Go on.
Oh, yes. Anything else from Lilith? Oh, you see if you bamf, right?
Yeah, I gotta see if I bamf. And in case
Find
I
out.
do not bamf, still readying an action, etc.
All right,
I do
very
not
good.
bamf.
All right, you do not bamf. You're ready in action. Very good. And at the end of your turn, Strahd will use another legendary action to smirk at Erethrundir and vanish down the stairs out of sight.
Hate him.
All right. Metreon, you're up. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm following Irina and Ismark.
All right. Sounds good. Easy enough to do. I'll move you over there, and I'll say you just run your way alongside them. Would you like to bonus action dash ahead to get even
just
with
put me
everyone
on
else?
the thing and I'll guide myself.
All right. Sounds easy enough. And with that, I believe that's the end of your turn.
No, I need to see it first.
Oh, there you go. You're on the King's Hall now.
Cool. All right, so that was movement, and I'm going to use my bonus action to dash.
Alrighty.
And then I'll use my action to dash.
Okay. And I think that's the end of your turn, right?
Yeah, would that put me on the landing with Ayrton there?
It would put you just around 10, 15 feet behind him.
Okay.
You're on the left side of the King's Hall map now.
Right. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Strahd will now take his turn. And... let's see what Strahd will do. I think I know what Strahd will do. Strahd will do what he does, and then he will end his turn. Next up is...
myself.
Actually, you know what? Let me think real quick.
Alright.
Decisions. Okay, I think I know what he's going to do. With that is the end of his turn, and we're back at the top with Earthrendir.
He's going after him.
All right. Let's move Earthrendir down there.
Yep.
Down to 1F entry.
Thank you.
And as you start descending the steps, you see yourself descending into the same entry space as you first entered the castle.
Shit. Any sign of Strahd?
Make a perception check. Actually, let me just double check something real quick. Make a perception check.
Oh boy. $21.
21. There is no sign of Strahd.
God fucking damn it. Well, there's a bit of a pickle. Aerith relays over the link. These stairs take me down to the entrance hall, but there's no sign of him, and if I go any further, I think I'm going to trigger the trap. I don't know what to do. Any suggestions, gang? Do we say he got away in this one and regroup, or...?
I don't think that's a terrible idea. Especially knowing that he's going to keep come and going regardless. I think it's probably reasonable that we regroup, lick our wounds, and try to think of something else.
Right, yeah, let's not be stupid.
I'll keep looking around and see if I can see him through the walls.
What are you going to say, Amity?
We're in the upstairs hallway. I guess just come up here and don't blow any big spells.
Can do. Zareth's going to sadly start trekking his way back up the stairs.
All right. Trek back
and
up
that's his turn. That is the end of his turn.
Alrighty. So ends Earthrendir's turn, which means it is Davian's turn. Davian will turn into a raven and start flapping after Ismark and company. And I think that is the end of Davian's turn. Let me just check something real quick. So let's see. All right, very good. Next up is Esmeralda. She's going to run forward toward Metron and see Erthrendir dejectedly making his way back up. Okay, so what's going on? Now what do we do? Just regroup?
I think so.
Yeah, fuck if I know. I mean,
he's lost us, which means he can be anywhere.
He hasn't lost us. We lost him.
That, yes. We just need to figure out a plan. Let's get back together and see what we can do.
All right, then. Do we want to stick it out here? Seems like it's eminently watchable.
Works for me.
All right, then. And she will look around warily, readying her weapons, but will pause for now. And that is the end of her turn. Strahd takes his lair action. Amity, your ghost is up. What are you doing?
Amity is going to where her ghost would come up through the floor and just rejoining it as it comes up and holding here.
The ghost flutters up sadly through the floor, having not found any Strahds. Actually, are you able to communicate with your ghost? Can it see into the ethereal plane?
I don't believe it can see into the ethereal plane.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's probably some communication madness when the ghost is elsewhere. But
okay.
Last time it was going to come up and attack Strahd, so that's why Amity's going to where Strahd was.
Okay, got it. Alrighty. And with that, you meet your ghost. Ghost looks slightly sad. Nothing else on your turn? Just regrouping?
I think we're all just regrouping. I'm happy to pass all
that's
future
the
turns
gist.
until something else happens.
Likewise.
I guess I still have an action, so like dodge action, you know.
Okay, very good. And so dodge action, good. End of Amity's turn. Kiva, you're up. You were running down through the hall, right?
Yeah.
But you just heard from Erthrendir as well.
Right now, my token is in the cathedral. So, I guess I'm headed to the King's Hall. That's where everyone else is.
I will say that you do know that according to what Erthrendir just said, there seems to be some trap lying ahead.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Fuck. I mean, part of me also wants to, like, I don't know. Part of me also wants to stay put and see if he comes back. But
that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm
Gonna
just
guard?
for now I'm gonna stay in the cathedral. Yeah.
All right, seems eminently reasonable. So after Kiva goes, Ismark and Irene are up. They're going to trudge forward, meeting up with the others. Ismark shuddering as he looks toward the skeletons against the walls. I don't think they're moving, right?
Not yet.
I don't know. I don't think I care.
Right, good. Okay. Lillison, you're up.
Lillison is going to ready an action and see if she bamfs. Actually, no. First she's going to move, and then she's going to do that.
Alrighty. Let's see if you bamf.
Apparently, I am not allowed to go through these walls, but I would like to end up on the left side of
problem.
Amity.
I can do that. Right over here.
Yeah. And actually, because I still have my bonus action as well, I'm going to just wander off a little bit.
Alright.
And now, readying an action and... Nope, still here.
Alrighty. Alas. So when's Lillison's turn? Metron, anything from you, or are you holding on?
Oh yeah, holding until I see something antagonistic. And then I firebolt. No, not firebolt, Eldritch Blast.
Okay. And with that, your turn comes to an end. And this will be fun.
Love hearing that.
You immediately hear Davian give out a cry of alarm. Let's see how we do here. Oh, lovely.
Uh-oh.
Davian takes 16 points of necrotic damage and is grappled. Though from what, you can't actually see. You hear over the telepathic link as the Raven caws wildly, "Something's fucking got its claws into me. I can't see nothing, but something's here. I can hear it."
Where are
And you
you?
watch as the Raven is violently yanked down toward the ground. He's right behind you. You see the Raven squawking helplessly, flapping its wings, not looking, just flat out not having a good time. And there's going to be a second attack there. That'll hit. Dealing a total of 9 reduced to 0. 14 additional necrotic damage.
Thank you, where Raven resistances.
Alrighty. And with that, you watch as the Raven is dragged across the floor 5 feet back away from you. Earthendeer, you're up.
Lilson, where are you?
I'm with, the others, with, Ismark and Amity and Metreon and Ez and Irina.
Okay. Aerith is going to book it that way as fast as his legs can muster.
Alright, I'll plot you back up on with the rest of them. You see your friends gathered in a crowd at the very end of this corridor. You are now in the King's Hall map.
He has 160 feet of movement.
I'd say that you can get easily close to the squawking Raven that you hear making panic noises from down the hall.
Okay. He's gonna keep going.
You're going even further?
Yeah.
Alright, where are you going? You make it to the end of the hall.
I mean, I'm going towards the invisible thing that's grabbing Davian.
Yes, you can hear now what sounds like footsteps.
Can I tell where?
Yes, you can. Whatever this thing was, it's no longer hiding itself. It seems to be right to the upper right of where you're currently standing.
Okay. Earthrendeer twirls his wand and casts Dispel Magic at 4th level.
Okay, let me just take a... So that'll automatically dispel anything. As you watch what seems like mist begins to melt away, revealing a very visible Strahd von Zarovich standing there.
Sorry, but I know that game too, motherfucker. And that's his turn.
All right. Davian is up, but so is Strahd. And Strahd is going to use a legendary action to... Oh, this is very tempting. What does he want to do here?
Overextend. Leave Strahd there.
He's going to legendary action attack. Unarmed strike. With advantage, because I presume Davian's not looking at him. 26 to hit, dealing another 12 necrotic damage. Davian's looking very rough. Esmeralda's up. She's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and fling a firebolt at Strahd in slight desperation. 21 hitting, dealing 18 points of fire damage.
Get it, girl.
That's my wife!
Strahd recoils, suddenly falling back, but retaining his grip on the tiny raven that is struggling to escape his grasp. All right. And that is Esmeralda's turn. Strahd will take his lair action and will... Let's play a little risky.
Woo!
He's going to slam the doors shut and lock it. Right behind Esmeralda. Using his lair action to do so. And with that, Amity, you're up. You and your undead.
Okay. Well,
Actually, Davian does have a turn, I'm realizing, that I always skip.
Yes, he does.
So Davian's going to look Earthrinder deep in the eye and say,
Don't listen to whatever he fucking says, lad. You're more than the sniveling dirties it'll ever be.
and he'll use his action to grant you inspiration
Oh my god.
as your four-trolled ally. Because Strahd is within eyesight.
Alright.
All right. And now it's our ghostly undead's turn in Amity.
Hell yeah. Amity goes up to this door. I don't suppose there's any chance that there's like a crack that she can see through to target a spell.
I'm afraid not.
I'm afraid no smart vampire would build a castle like that.
Nope.
Okay, she's gonna... what's this made out of? Wood?
Yes, it's made out of wood.
Shatter the door.
That gonna hit us?
Okay. That would hit. Actually, no. If you angle it upward, the radius will only hit the upper half of the door. You'll have to kind of like pole vault over it. It'll be difficult terrain, but I'll say you can position it sufficiently high that the radius of the sphere will not hit your friends.
That's fine.
But you will have to be within a certain range. But that's fine. You can step directly adjacent to the door. That would do the job.
Cool. So an object is also takes damage and it's in the spell's area, so the wooden door takes 27 damage.
All right, the wooden door shatters, or at least the upper portion does. You can now see through to the other side. You'll have to spend difficult terrain to hop over because the angle means that you only shatter the top half of the doors. It's like one of those like farmstead style barn kitchen doors that like only it goes around 3 feet off the ground now. So, but you do have a vantage point of what's going down in the corridor.
Great, awesome.
All right.
I don't suppose that I can use my movement to like push Ismark towards Strahd, can I?
I am afraid not. You already used your action.
So my movement cannot. Okay, yeah,
Aerith
I can't.
looks over to
grapple him.
Amity.
That
Can you
makes
help
sense.
me? Anything?
Amity will just use the rest of her movement to go forwards.
All right.
And
move
that's
wherever you'd like.
Yeah, exactly. And the ghostly form is going to just be a little bit ahead of Amity in the hallway.
Alrighty.
Question.
Yes.
Do you have Bardic Inspiration you can give me?
Oh, yeah, if you're asking for that.
I am, yes.
Cool, well, help him somehow. Or, no, don't help Davian, just make sure he doesn't get away again. Amity gives Earthrim Bardic Inspiration.
Thank you.
I don't know if this cancels out the Bardic Inspiration on Ismark. I should look it up.
It's all fair. I think it doesn't. I'm pretty sure you can have more than one active at a time.
Yay.
But nonetheless, you said that's your turn? Or are you looking to get your undead adjacent to Strahd?
It can't go that far. It can go like one,
okay.
Unless it dashes. So it's just going to go up. Oh man, you know what? Sure, it'll dash in its turn on the other side of Strahd.
All right, fair enough.
To his east, yeah.
Okay, so looking over what we've got now, we've got in the same corridor where you first saw the strange visage of Strahd sweeping down from the ceiling. Strahd, standing against the northern wall, grappling around Davian's tiny raven form, flanked on one side by Aerthrendir and on the other by an angry ghost, toward the doors that have been shattered by Amity to the western side of the castle toward the front entrance. Esmeralda standing by the door a few feet away from Amity, and behind her, Ismark, Irina, Metreon staring down the hall towards Strahd as, down in the cathedral below, Kiva waits, lurking with the sunsword and guarding. But Kiva, you can hear the sound of combat and melee coming from upstairs. What would you like to do?
Oh, fuck. I'm really torn. I'm sorry if this is going to take a second. I'm just really torn between
It's all good.
staying and trying to see if he escapes, or like going up and joining, because I know that if the sun is in range with him, he's gonna try to fuck away anyway. I don't know. Is it fair to ask what other people think I should do? I'm split 50-50.
If you don't mind my saying, I think because of Kiva's rage and her bloodlust, I would see her going up the stairs.
Yeah, that's what I think. Okay. Good. Yeah, she's gonna run up the 40 feet. I don't know where that gets her.
That'll get you, let's see, 15 feet over toward there, up toward the balcony, and over here. All right, so you run your way up the creaky wooden landing, taking around 30 feet to get there, 35, 40. You have 40 feet movement?
Yes.
45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. You can just barely get into the court of the opposite side where Strahd is. Strahd's head whips around toward you as soon as that sunlight blazes in his face.
Great. All right, then while I am in range, I am going to use an action to
you would need to use an action to dash there.
Oh,
you have a way to
okay.
dash as a bonus action, because you just moved 80 feet.
No, I don't. Okay. All right. And I only get 2 attacks per turn, not 2 actions, right?
Correct, yeah.
All right, well, he's in sunlight for now, so I'll just stand there.
So he is. Alrighty. With that, so ends your turn. Strahd has decisions to make. Fuck it. He knows when an attempt hasn't worked out. He's going to release. Actually, no, he can't release. He can release it as a free action. So he's going to release Davian, letting him drop to the floor, and baring his teeth toward Kiva, move 30 feet away from her, right next to Esmeralda, and that will be the end of that legendary action. He's right between Amity and Esmeralda. So, next up, we've got Ismark, who's going to run up, hollering, and try to smash at Strahd with his longsword.
Let's go, buddy.
Oh no! Do you still want to try to grapple?
That is what Amity told him to do.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
In that case, he will listen to Amity, and he'll try to grapple. 20. Let's see how Strahd does.
Come on.
15. Grappled.
Yes!
Is he going to burn a resistance, or?
You can't.
It's not
this
a save.
It's not a saving
shit.
throw.
Yes, bitch! Yes, bitch!
Okay. And so that will end Ismark's turn. Actually, no, it won't. Because he'll grit his teeth and say, I don't think you're getting away that easily. And he's going to start dragging Strahd toward Kiva.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
He only has enough space for around 5 feet of movement, but he's going to start pulling him that way. And
A goat.
that ends Ismark's turn. Iron is going to... Actually, out of curiosity, does the blinded condition affect grappling?
No, it does not.
It is a special attack. No, it's just making a strength check.
Yeah,
It's not an
blinded
actual
only affects attack rolls.
Alrighty, very good. So he is not affected by
So
his
good.
refusal to make eye contact. Alright, in that case, Irene is going to try to make a crossbow with disadvantage against Strahd.
Come on, darling.
Rolling a 19 twice, dealing 5 points of piercing damage, half to 2.
Love to see it, though.
She's so good.
Alright, so when's Irena's turn? Lillison, you're up.
Okay, Lillison would love
You're
to see
back
what's
in the
going
audience
on.
hall, right?
Yes.
The throne room?
Lillison's going to note the fact that there was a throne there, but she is going to move here. Gonna have some wall shenanigans again.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Evidently, I can't move right from here, but thank you.
All good.
Going to use her bonus action to get a little closer.
Alright. Come as close as you like.
I think she will. And oh goodness. Guys, should I do the thing?
No. Save
Honey, I think you should do the thing. No.
Thing,
Save
I don't
it.
know what the thing is.
I don't know what thing this is.
No, I don't think you should. But it's your decision.
He doesn't look extremely badly hurt, does he?
He's taken a little bit of damage.
But only a little bit.
A little bit.
Lillison, I'm just saying, listen to your chaos goblin. If it's telling you to do it, you should do it.
I am sorry for everybody who's gonna get caught in this line.
Oh no!
Yes!
Woo!
Hook us up!
Is it a line or a cone?
It's a cone.
I'm gonna. If I move here, can I still see through the door?
I would say not really, no.
All right, I'll do the best I can. It is a line. She is going to pull out her spell scroll of lightning bolt.
Oh,
that's
fuck
the one.
yes.
Oh,
fuck.
so sexy.
Okay.
And she is not going to toss off any like witty quips or anything like that. She is beyond that. So.
Alright, lining it up. Let's place that template
Lining
down
it
and
up.
see if who you'll hit or who you won't hit.
Do I want to hit Amity or Ismark with this?
Who's got beefier hit points that can take it, or better dex or something to
I feel
reduce
like,
damage?
Unfortunately, it would have to hit Ismark if I want Strahd to be
That's-
right in the
yeah.
middle of
That's
it.
fine.
He's got
Yeah,
80 hit points.
yeah.
It's up to you.
All right.
Ismark has more
I think he'll be
HP
fine.
than me.
Yeah.
Dex save, please.
Alright, he'll make a dex save.
Come on,
Fuck yes.
come on.
Can Strahd get the disadvantage with disc saves because he's grappled, right?
No,
Or no? That's restraint, right?
that's restrained.
Yeah. Fuck.
23.
Unfortunate.
And Ismark, 7.
Ooh, so Ismark takes the full 29 damage. Strahd is going to take half of that.
Alright, Strahd will take 14. Is that the end of your turn?
It is. We'll see where she goes. She disappears.
Love it. All right, you bamf into the ethereal plane. And with that, Metron, you're up. Strahd is grappled in the hallway ahead of you. He is slightly smoldering. Ismark slightly more so from the lightning bolt that Lillison just flung through their chests.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do?
What would I like to do? So I'm gonna go ahead. I think this is maybe. Hold on. Fuck. So I think what I'm gonna do is, because I can see him through the doors right now, right?
Yeah, you can see him. You're looking over Irina, Lillison, but you can see him. He's currently grappled by Ismark, who's trying to drag him, and has successfully dragged him just barely into the radius of Kiva's sunlight.
Does he have cover because of people in front of me?
I would say from this angle, no, I don't think he has cover.
Okay. Just because he's a little piece of shit who likes to get away from us. This is risky, but I'm gonna try it. So Metron's gonna stay there, but seeing Ismark get blasted, just scream out in pain as his body surges with electricity. There's just this instinctive stomp that Metron gives and cries out no, and he's going to direct a mind spike at Strahd.
Okay. Nice. One mind spike. That's an intelligence save?
Yes, it is. DC 16.
Or intelligence or wisdom?
Wisdom. Oh, wisdom. Wait, hold on. I think it's intelligence. No, it's wisdom. Yeah.
All right, let's take a wisdom save.
I was thinking
18.
Fuck.
Good try.
Yeah. So he takes. I think he just takes 7 points of psychic damage.
All right. There's a sizzling of psychic energy that surges from your forehead towards Strahd's, smashing into his mind, and he snarls, shadows swirling around him, and the forces dissipate, though he looks a little bit drained compared to before.
And then I'll use my bonus action to dash. Let's get in here.
All right. It's an everyone hanging out with Strahd party.
And it's my turn.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So it's your turn, which means that it is now Strahd's turn, and he has decisions to make.
Quite a few.
But, let's go with... He's going to... Man, that sunlight. Kiva's decision to come back up kind of fucked him here. If she'd stayed down there, he would have been a much happier boy. But alas. He is going to raise his hand, chanting an arcane intonation, and you watch as a spiraling sphere of wind begins to curl around his body, and he thrusts his hands forward, push down the hallway toward Kiva, Earth, and Ismark. He's casting Gust of Wind.
Okay.
Oh, what
Strength
does that
save?
At the start of your turn.
Okay.
So everyone at the start of their turn who starts in this line must make a strength saving throw, be pushed 15 feet away from him in a direction following the line, and it's difficult terrain to move toward him in this line.
Okay.
Oh, thank God. Am I not in that line, or
You
am
are.
I in that line?
You are. It's 10 feet
You
wide.
very much
Oh,
are.
okay.
That's the whole hallway.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that is his turn. He sadly cannot do much more than that. Actually, you know what? He's got a better option. No, he doesn't. Ismark's not making eye contact with him. Shame. All right. So ends Strahd's turn. What will happen now, I wonder?
Earthendeer's up.
Earthendeer, you're up. Take us away.
Strength save. 11.
You've got inspo, right?
I'm not using it for this.
Okay.
All right, you're pushed 15 feet back.
I'm pushed into Davian. Unless Davian's tiny right now, in which
He's
case
tiny right now,
okay.
yes. He's a bird.
Okay. So here's what happens. Earthrendir is knocked knocked down by the force of the wind, and he is slammed into the wall. Blood trickling down his face, his eyes desperate. And then he sees his friends surrounding Strahd. He meets Lillison's gaze, and he nods.
Lillison's not on this plane.
She's not here.
Fuck! And he runs into the wind.
Okay, it's 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot you spend.
I have enough.
I'm sure you do.
And then, with every bit of strength he has left in his body, with Davian's words echoing in his ears, with Amity's help, he is going to grapple Strahd with advantage.
All right, that's a nice inspiration you got there.
Sure is. And he has disadvantage because he's in sunlight.
So he is.
16.
First roll is a 23. Let's see what the second one is.
Come on, come on.
15.
Oh, yes!
Earthrendir tackles him, wrapping around his waist as if he's never going to let him go, as he just screams into the wind, "Now! For God's sake, if you've ever done anything, now!" And he uses his other hand to bring his sword down in a great sweeping plunge. Rahadan's scimitar.
All right, go for it.
14 to hit, probably not.
14 does not hit, I'm afraid.
All right, that's his turn.
Alrighty, so it ends your turn, which means that it is Davian's turn. He will make a strength save. But honestly, I don't think he'll be very sad if he gets blown back here. He succeeds in the save, but he's going to happily go with the wind, alighting on Kiva's shoulder.
Speaking
will
of Kiva, guess
caw
who forgot
very
to roll on
faintly.
a fucking wild magic table?
Oh, yeah. And actually, you know what? He's going to caw again. Who wants inspiration? Because he does have an action
Whoever.
handed out.
Who's going next in initiative?
Esmeralda, then Amity, and her undead.
Give it to Amity,
and then
then.
Kiva.
Give it to Amity.
Oh my god, this is such a good rage table. Sorry.
Yeah,
I would take it unless, like, it stacks with Bardic Inspiration, right?
It
It's not
does.
bad to have both? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Correct.
take
All
it.
right, in that case...
Give it to
he will-
Amity, yeah.
The Raven will lock eyes with you, flapping its wings, lower his face down. And Amity, you're echoing your thoughts. The monster has seen enough death in my lands. You're gonna tell the story of how he died, right? Because if so, I can't wait to bloody fucking hear it. And he'll grant you inspiration, Amity.
Wow, 5e Inspiration. Yeah,
Yep.
Amity just nods grittily.
Alrighty. And just as a reminder, the way inspiration is working as per rules is written, which means you roll it before you roll and not after you see the result. But that is the end of Davian's turn, as he will alight on Kiva's shoulder. Esmeralda will take her turn. And she's got some fun stuff to do. But I think mostly she's going to start blasting with her rapier and hand axe. With disadvantage,
Anyway, I
sadly.
started blasting.
First attack is a 14 on both counts, dealing 8 points of piercing damage. Second attack, a 15, dealing 8. Well, the 15 misses, actually. And the last one misses with a natural 1. So he takes a total of 8 points of damage. And with that, his voice booms out. And so none of you are brave enough to even look me in the eye as you try to slay me, esteemed vampire hunters. Let's see how far you get. And that is the end of Esmeralda's turn. Strahd will take another lair action. And he's going to... Oh, this is unfortunate. That'll do. So right now he's grappled by Earthrendir and Ismark, correct?
Correct.
That's problematic.
Ain't it? Amazing how that happens.
But... Oh, that's not going to work out. Okay, that's fine. He's going to... Decisions to make.
You can just give up and die.
This is true.
Yeah, that works too.
He could just do that. He could just do that. As it turns out, sunlight is good.
Imagine.
All right. I think I know what he'll do. He's going to use his lair action, and you watch as his body shimmers very faintly, insubstantially. That is the end of his lair action. And it's time for our spirit friend. Amity, you and your friend are up.
Very nice. Amity turns to Strahd, and she is also going to join in the grappling community.
The grappling community.
Leave a space for Kiva!
Oh, there's 8 spaces around Strahd.
This is like Strahd on the couch meme.
God.
Yes, it is. It is.
Please no.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Please no.
None of that, please. 22.
Yeah. I think I have to spend Bardic Inspiration before I know what he rolled, but I'll keep...
No,
keep
you
it.
don't.
Oh,
No, you don't.
okay, cool.
His first one was a 22. His second one was a 17.
Oh, delicious.
And Amity says, as her ghost comes out to attack, have you seen a cattle dog with its jaw around a rat? Around its neck, letting it squirm. You are my prey. What are you going to do, prey? As her ghost comes around to deliver...
Amity's scary.
Measly a 25 to hit from the side.
Yeah, that'll hit. I'll say that'll hit.
It's necrotic damage, so he probably resists. It's 11 or 5 if resisted.
Actually, no. Did your spirit give me a strength save on the... actually, no, it didn't start. It didn't start its turn in the line, so it doesn't have to.
Okay. Cool.
It's all good.
Yeah. Also, he has to make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of the ghost.
All right, he will make a wisdom saving throw. Let's see how he does. 19. Success.
Yeah, success. All right. And that will be Amity's turn unless someone requests the Bardic Inspiration.
No.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Okay. And with that, it is now... Technically, Strahd has more legendary actions that he could use. So he's going to legendary action attack Earthrendir.
Do it.
And you're not looking at him, right? So it's a straight roll.
Nope. Yep.
27 to hit.
Hit.
8 slashing damage plus 18 necrotic. Give me a concentration check.
All right.
Oh, fuck.
7. I'm using Amity's Bardic Inspiration.
All right. The DC on this is 24-12.
17!
You retain concentration on haste.
No, you fucking don't.
All right. And with that, Kiva, you're up. Give me a strength save, please.
Yeah, I get these with advantage. And I needed it because it was a natural 1. 16.
The DC was 18, I'm afraid.
Oh,
You were blasted
fuck.
15 feet back, but I presume you're going to want to trudge forward.
Yeah, don't worry about it because I can teleport.
Actually, yeah,
within
question. How
30
long has
feet.
haste been running for?
It will be 9 turns at the start of my next turn.
Gotcha. So it has one more turn after that?
Yep. This turn,
Excellent, thank you.
my next turn, and then the one after. I've been keeping track.
All right, sorry, Kiva, I interrupted. What are you doing? You were blasted 15
No, you're
feet
totally
back.
fine. Yeah, so I'm blasted feet back. I'm going to teleport 30 feet because that's my rage bonus thing. Back
nice.
into the room, 30 feet. Actually, yeah. So let's go back into the room.
Bear in mind the
And
wind is
then-
difficult terrain.
Yeah, that's okay. So is that 30 feet plus the 15?
Yes. So
Or
well,
should
you
I-
use 30 feet.
should I be-
So you still have your action and your movement.
Right. I'm just saying, like, should the
You have a speed of 45,
I-
right?
40? I'm just wondering, should I be one up?
No. So I moved you
'Cause
back
it's-
1, 2, 3, and then
okay.
moved you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, you're right. You should be one forward. My mistake.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I had the 40
All
feet
right,
there
so
because I
you
was
were-
doing the math.
You're good. You're good. You are flung back, spiraling, gritting your teeth, and then you pull at the threads of fey magic infusing your soul. You feel the ethereal purplish green light encircling you like a spiral of mist, and you instantly teleport, reappearing 30 feet ahead of you.
Sexy. So I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna recklessly attack Strahd twice with the sun sword, if that's cool.
You
don't
are
have the
so
movement.
unfortunately you are in the line.
That
of
was
the wind.
35 feet. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Even if I step out one.
Let me
like, out
check
of
the
the
map real
path?
quick because you might be able to step out of the path. Let me take a quick look at the map because I'm not sure how much.
Yeah, that's
many
how I
obstructions there are.
calculated it. So if not, it's totally
Yeah, that's very
fine.
fair. Let's take a look as I flip through my handy dandy module.
If you can get in there, that'll be tight.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
It is
that's
not
my
marked as
hope.
obstructed on the map, so yes, you can move.
Yes! Oh,
Nice.
fuck yes. All right, let's go. Recklessly attacks with the sun sword.
Because yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's exactly enough to get you there.
First one's a 24.
All right, that'll hit.
And it's an additional how many d8s of radiant damage for him?
One.
I think.
One.
Yeah.
Well,
And then 1d8 extra on the,
Yeah.
on the smite if you smite.
So that first hit is going to be 16 radiant damage. And then on the second one, I'm going to use a divine smite.
all right.
That's a 20.
Very nice.
And then an additional 2d8 is 13 and 9 is 22.
And then 2d8 more. 1d8
Yep,
from
2d8 more.
And oh,
Because you're smiting an undead and the sun sword's hitting an undead, so you get plus an additional 2d8.
plus another 5, so 27.
He will take it all. He is looking very rough.
Oh fuck yeah, and we're just gonna stay right there, buddy. That's what we're gonna do.
All right, Kiva, you sweep forward, bringing the sun sword down. He raises his claws up in a vain attempt to block your attacks, but you bring it slashing down twice across him. He grunts, taking the damage. However, at the end of your turn, he is going to use another legendary action to attack Erthrendir. His final legendary
it.
action for this round.
Do it.
Okay, that sucks. I don't like that.
18 to hit.
Blade Song.
Motherfucker. It misses. Which means it's now Ismark's turn, and we'll see if he gets blown back in the wind and breaks the grapple.
Yep.
Strength save, let's go, baby.
He's still got Amne's Bardic Inspiration.
Crit, doesn't need it.
Love my strong boy.
All right. So with that 23, Ismark snarls, latching down into Strahd as the blaring gust of air flares out on all sides. I'm not going anywhere. You thought that this castle was our tomb. It's going to be yours. Strahd's eyes widen, almost imperceptibly, but enough that you know that he's feeling
so
relief.
beautiful.
And so that is Ismark's turn. He's still grappling with one hand, but he can use his longsword to attack with the other, which I think he's going to do. Attacking with disadvantage, sadly, but that's an 11 to hit and an 8 to hit, both of which miss, I'm afraid. Strahd is grappled from like 3 different angles, and he's still thrashing about like a fucking trout caught in a net.
Keep thrashing, babe.
Alrighty, and that ends Ismark's turn. Irina has her turn. She's going to fire off another crossbow. And as you do, Lilith, you actually notice that she is burying her face in a snarl, screaming incoherently, tears running down her face as she fires off bolt after bolt in Strahd's direction. Unfortunately, firing over Metrion's back, the first bolt misses and she snarls and moves to reload. That is the end of Irina's turn. Lillison, you are up.
Strahd is looking kind of beat up, right?
He's looking quite beat up.
All right, Lillison is going to bamf back into reality in the one remaining corner.
That's my girl.
Bamf.
I cannot bamf myself in that direction, evidently.
All good. I'll move you there. Lillison, you are bamfed back to reality in the suitably lawful evil square of Strahd's alignment grid.
Nice.
What would you like to do?
Lillison is holding this blade that she has found in the crypts with this white-knuckled rage as she stares down at Strahd. And with the force of iron in her voice, she says, Lord Strahd von Zarovich, Master of Barovia, kneel! And she casts Powered Stun.
Yes.
Strahd is stunned.
Holy my god!
He makes a saving throw at the end of his next turn. He does get a next turn.
He does.
So.
And unfortunately, there's not nearly enough people between my turn and his turn, but, you know.
And specifically, I'd like to ask what Lillison is wishing for.
She is wishing to cast Power Word Stun.
Well, yes, but you gotta say wish. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Those are the rules.
Okay, yes. She is casting Wish off the Luck Blade in order to replicate Power Word Stun without using any of the components.
Alright. As soon as he sees the blade, Strahd's eyebrows narrow, but as soon as he hears the word wish, his eyes widen, and he reaches forward, grasping for it, and then freezes. And almost collapses to his knees, his body frozen in place, eyes bulging wide, powerless. Is that the end of Lillison's turn?
It is, and unfortunately she does not get to disappear dramatically. But there we go.
Alrighty. There we go indeed. Which means, Metrion, you're up.
Let me just double check some.
Kill him.
Fabulous. So yeah, Metrion is going to back away, so I don't think he can take an attack of opportunity though, because he's
not while he's paralyzed.
Fabulous. So he's gonna step back over here, and as he's doing it, He pulls out the skull of Queen Ravenovia, kind of jostling it in his hand. Hey, this look familiar to you? Looks like everyone's having fun. I want to get on this. And he slams the skull down to the ground, shattering it. And as he does, you will all watch as his eyes begin to flutter, and you hear bones start to break, and you see something emerging from his back and slawing off like boiled potato skins. You just see his skin slaw and fall away, and in its place emerges a bright pink lizard.
What?
Casting
what?
polymorph, I presume?
Yes.
All right.
Oh
You
my
watch
God.
as, in its place, this massive creature filling the space, its tail sweeping Irina aside as it fills to take as much of the space of this chamber as possible. You see that its purple, or its pinkish flesh, scales twisted like knives, blades serrated along every edge. You can see strange black swirls along its spine and back, flaring with golden grayish lights, twirling in an internal helix of contradiction. And then the beast opens its maw, its teeth dripping with golden, gray, and black moisture alike, and lets out a great roar that echoes throughout the hall.
Oh, that's the wrong spell. And do I don't get an action, do I? Because I use that action?
You do not, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But I'm going to put you right there, as best I can.
Fabulous.
We'll use the same token as previously.
Fabulous. Just save me some.
So good.
All right. And that is the end of Metrion's turn. Strahd's turn is up, and he can do nothing. He's paralyzed except make a saving throw. It's a wisdom save, correct?
It is a con save.
Con save.
Con save, all right. That's a 7. He's going to burn a legendary resistance. Paralysis
Reasonable.
ends.
Well, stun ends, yeah.
Yes, the stun ends.
Okay.
So he's going to take down one of those.
At the beginning of Strahd's turn, he takes d6 damage from...
He does, plus an additional 20 from the Radiance.
Correct. That is 5 from Helm.
He takes 25 points of damage. Let's take a look at Strahd Boy's stat block. Let's see if there's anything that he's got in store here.
Oh, he can take some sun sword damage.
He
too.
just-
That's-
Oh, he already did.
Ooh.
Um,
I love this.
I love just listening to you read the whole entire stat block. Ugh.
I mean, you can hear the stat block. You can fucking hear the stat block.
Oh, you know it.
That's interesting, but not entirely helpful.
If he polymorphs into a bat, are we still... Oh, we can't, where he's in sunlight.
He cannot. He's in sunlight.
Don't you just love the sun and being outside in the sun and having the sun on your skin?
Oh, it's gorgeous. He is going to...
You are only looking at things that he can do well. It's not technically his turn, right?
No, it's his turn. Metrion just ended his turn.
Stun ends at the
The
end.
stun ends at the end of his
Oh,
turn.
you're right. Fuck, you're right. In that case, he's only got legendary actions and he's grappled.
Yeah.
In which case, Erthandir, it's your turn.
Okay. How bad does he look?
What's that?
How bad does he look?
He's looking very rough.
Earth looks towards the others. Now. And then he takes Rahadin's scimitar into his hand and drives it into his heart. Green flame blade.
All right, go for an attack. Straight roll, or with disadvantage. Sorry.
Nope, I'm meeting his eyes.
Alrighty, meeting his eyes, you shall.
Fuck, 11.
That attack will miss, I'm afraid.
Hasted attack then.
All right, and this is the last round where haste works, right?
Yeah, second to last.
Gotcha, okay.
$16.
16?
Yeah.
All right, 16 does not, no, just barely hits.
7
actually.
slashing damage.
7 slashing damage he'll take. Have to 3, I believe.
Who's up next in initiative?
Davian.
Okay. That's his turn.
All right. Strahd has a legendary action, which he will use. Fuck it, he'll go against Aerthrandir again.
All right. Wait, he fell prone.
No, he didn't act technically kneel prone. It was just power word stun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
Just flavor.
Alas.
Damn it. Fair
Straight
enough.
roll with unarmed strike, because no, Aerthrandir is looking at him, so it's disadvantage to attack. 16, which misses.
Okay.
Davian is up. Let's give him a strength save. That'll be an 11, which unfortunately fails. He's blown 15 feet back, but he's got 25 feet movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here, which means, let me see something about his ability here. Never mind. All right, who wants inspiration?
Who's up next after him?
The first
Amity
PC up
again,
is
right?
Amity, then Kiva.
Amity already
got
has
right?
it, so...
Then I think Kiva. Then I think definitely Kiva.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, Kiva, you have inspiration as you hear in the back of your mind from the telepathic bond. You've got a chance to bring Sun back to this land, Liz. Don't let up. You have inspiration.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
All right. So ends Davian's turn. Esmeralda is up. She's going to make her attacks.
Come on, wife.
You know what? She's gonna... No, she's careful. She's going to not meet Strahd's eyes anyway. And get punished for it. Only 1 attack hits, dealing 5 points of damage, halved to 2. Alright, Strahd's lair action. Snarling, he'll raise his hands to the air and say, "You cannot do this! I am the Lord of Barovia, the Master of Ravenloft! You will fall as all others have fallen before you!" And he will gesture toward, let's say, Ismark. And as you watch, rising from the ground, a shrieking spirit, a specter emerges and strikes at him. Missing with a natural 1. It vanishes, dissipating with a wail in the burning nimbus of Kiva's alighted sun sword. You can watch as Strahd's skin, his pale flesh, is beginning to smolder, burning with radiant sparks. That's the end of his lair action. Amity, you're up.
Amity grasps her hands tightly around Strahd's neck, also wrapping her tail around his legs. "Get out what you can before your windpipe ruptures. If you want to be immortal, well, I'll repeat your last words to everyone I tell the story to."
Oh, badass!
She's just taking the dodge action, and she's holding the grapple.
Okay, we love dodge actions. Anything from your undead?
Oh yeah, the
Unless,
undead
actually,
will
does
give
it last
me
for a minute or 10 minutes?
An hour.
Yeah.
Oh,
an
okay,
hour.
so that's fine. So anything from your undead?
Yeah, just an attack. If Strahd ever damaged enemy, there'd be like a concentration check, but that's not happening. So this undead at 3 HP will score a 15 to hit.
A 15 will not hit, just by 1.
Alack. It will
But that
continue
means it
hovering
is
above him.
Kiva's turn.
Okay. So I'm just gonna recklessly attack 2 more times with the Sun Sword, if that's cool, guys.
Go for it.
Go for it.
And are you meeting his
That's
eyes or not?
She's not. She's blind sight, so she doesn't need to.
All right, so you
Do
get
that.
advantage on both, I believe.
Yep. Okay. So that's 20. Seeing if I crit, I do not. So it's a 24, and that's 6 radiant damage plus an additional D8. So that's the first hit is 10 radiant damage, and then the second one is an 18, and I'm going to Divine
Hits.
Smite, so it's 3d8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is.
plus 3d8.
17. 9 plus 17 is 26.
All right, I'm going to count down from 3. And when I do, I want you all to say the words together to Serena. 3, 2, 1.
How do you want
How
to
are
do
you
this?
doing
this?
this?
Oh my god. Okay, so early on in the campaign, I wrote down a post-it note what Kiva would say if she ever got this chance. So I'm really glad I have that in front of me. So, okay. Holy shit. I'm crying a little bit. Okay, so Kiva forces the Sun Sword deeper inside Strahd's chest, her smile twisting into something that is both relieved and hungry. And as Kiva, the rotting corpse visage, avenging angel, leans in really close, holds the back of his head with her hand, and just says, "Am I still beautiful?" And pushes the sword straight through.
Strahd screams in pain and rage as you watch sunlight bursting out of every wound, every scratch he's taken. His eyes shine like brilliant stars bursting with radiance. And then he can't hide his surprise as death takes him into the black abyss. His flesh burns, arcing with cinders and radiant sparks that spiral, swirling through the air. His scream echoes, his surprise turning to rage, the pillarstone of Ravenloft trembling with fury, shaking dust from the ceiling of the corridor around you. And then the shudders abate, as Strahd's burning hatred melts away, replaced at last with relief. The dark orbs of his eyes wither and sink into his skull as his corpse deteriorates before you, and in a matter of moments, only bones, dust, and noble garb remain. Strahd von Zarovich, the Dark Lord of Barovia, is dead and gone. And that's where we'll end it for today.
I'd just like to say that at the end of this, like at the end of Jurassic Park, Metreon lets out a loud roar.
Oh, good.
It
Good, he
echoes
does.
through the castle, a mighty roar of defiance. And in that moment, there's not a creature in Ravenloft that doesn't know what's just happened. GG.
Good going,
Holy
gamers.
shit.
See y'all next time, folks.
I'm gonna go
We love
cry
you.
and lay down and cry.
To be
Fa-
concluded.
Thanks for sticking with us, Twice Bitten. You
Yeah,
fucking
I mean,
legends.
honestly, almost 2 years of this. What an incredible ride. I'm gonna save all this for the epilogue, but holy
Yeah.
shit, guys.
Hell
Holy
yeah,
shit.
y'all.
Good night, Strahd von Zarovich.
And may absolutely no fucking angel sing you to your rest whatsoever.
Amnesia
can
weird
sing.
undead.
We can
We're-
sing
We
for
can
him.
sing.
What are you singing? Wedding
Ding Dong
drinking
the
songs?
Witch is- Ding Dong the Witch is dead.
I'll take it.
Well, Amnesia
Actually, no,
weird
we're
ghost
singing.
angel
We're
will
singing
sing.
All Star. We're singing All Star.
We're singing
We
All
are
Star.
not.
Somebody once told me the
Don't
wait,
you
no, we'll get
dare.
copyright stricken.
Gotta roll me.
Don't copyright strike this.
Well, in any case, I think that about wraps it up for this session. So, thank you to everyone for joining us today. A special thank you to our producer, Shiplukas, who has stuck out the entire freaking campaign and handled all of our fuck-ups and mess-ups, and is faithfully recording this right now. We love you, Zio. We appreciate the hell out of you. and we appreciate all you folks who've been listening so far. We will see all of you back next week, though perhaps not in the mists. And until then, prepare yourselves for the final chapter, and take care.